My father used to say, "Watch this man."
He's been cited by IGN, The Quartering, Timcast, The Daily Wire, Bounding into Comics, and even Dr. Jordan B. Peterson.
Disney insider WDW Pro recently speculated on.
Time and time again, he's broken big entertainment news live on the air.
I've been following WDW Pro and his track record for years. If you want to find out what's on the horizon for theme parks, Pro is where you go.
Morty, let's check in on Rian Johnson's new trilogy.
Okay. I bypassed the compressor.
What did you do, Ray? Son of a... That's gonna leave a mark.
Now, he was okay, after 6-7 weeks. Okay? They get over it. Kids are resilient like that.
Yeah.
I hate it. It's the standard, what would George do?
I don't want you here.
So sorry, George. I didn't think it would go like this.
Blimey, you fools.
I've fallen, and I can't get up.
Weird. Stay away from liquor, kids.
I have always liked Cowabunga.
Cowabunga!
Now that's more like it, Mr. Wayne.
It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. How much you can take and keep moving forward.
The Force will be with you, always.
That's how winning is done.
I am vengeance. I am the night.
That's what she said.
I am Batman.
If I won tonight, I would come home and we'd celebrate. Well, I'm coming home, we're celebrating. God bless you all.
Watch your habits, for they become your character. And watch your character, for it becomes your destiny. What we think, we become.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, in just 2 minutes, the lighting at the Magic Kingdom will dim for the performance of the Pro Show. We hope you enjoy and have a magical, truthful time. For the safety of others, please, no flash photography. Hello and welcome to Provision 3D.
All right, everyone, put on your coffee glasses. Oh boy, I'm so excited.
Keep learning, keep growing, and keep having fun.
To all who come to this happy place, welcome.
You know that you've been taught the golden rule, do unto others as you'd have them do unto you.
Yes, Paul.
Autobots, roll out.
I'm bringing the party to you.
If somebody's going to try to blackmail me with advertising, blackmail me with money?
Fortune and glory, kid. Fortune and glory.
We're gonna do it!
All right, it's time to go to school, son. Come on, get your hands up, man.
Are you okay?
They'll never take our freedom! From the redwoods of California to the hills of Tennessee to the Rockies in the Sunshine State and Maine with that bright and shining sea. From coast to coast in North America, it's time for your host with the most, bringing you all the entertainment news that should be fun. Ladies and gentlemen, it's the WDW Pro Show! Hello, folks. Welcome. Look at this close-up. Jonas, I never noticed the pores. I am so sorry, sir, to bring it up now. All right, backing that out.
My face is beautiful, I'll have you know. I rent it.
Yes, you do. I had another joke ready, and that beats mine, so we'll go with yours. Jonas, it is a beautiful Thursday out there across the sunny side of the U.S. of A. And folks, no matter what's coming your way weather-wise, we know it's a very sunny day because you're here with us. We have huge news to cover today. The Zegler train just never stops. Hate to turn this into the Rachel Zegler show and channel, but well, for the next week or so, as long as she continues to do the things she does, we're stuck covering it because it's cray-cray. It's like Kanye was unleashed on Disney.
Oh my. And it's funny that we're talking about degrees of like, well, she did this thing that put the lives of these children in danger versus this guy who said mean things on Twitter. It's all a matter of like, well, pick your poison here. And I think the problem is with Zegler is she doesn't have a debilitating mental illness, allegedly, just narcissism, allegedly.
That's right. Folks, though, we have a much bigger show than just Rachel Zegler. It is breaking today that the FCC is likely investigating the Walt Disney Company over DEI. So we'll be covering that, and I think we're ahead of most of the drive-bys out there in doing so. But also exclusively, we have information when it comes to Walt Disney World Resort and some attendance numbers that you are going to want to be in attendance to hear here on the show today. Bringing it to you first, we believe. Jonas, I'm very excited. I know we've got a panel of excellence, but I do want to give 2 programming notices for those who are here so early, as we now are topping 500 in the audience across the fruited plains of YouTube and X. Folks, be the next to use the angry Mark Hamill emoji. That's right. You all earned it. You voted for it. It's here. Go to the emojis if you're the member of the channel and select Mad Mark. That's right. It's the Mad Mark emoji, and it's available to members of the channel. So excited to give that to all of you. Also, talking about the goal today for Super Chats, if we get 30 of those, we are going to play a Wilton clip that was in rotation here on the channel for only 1 week. So it's very few who have seen this Wilton clip. We'll play it. So hang tight. If we hit that 30, it'll be coming out of the Pro Vault. Jonas, let's bring the panel out of the vault, sir.
I'm a little scared because usually those things go into the vault for a reason. But yeah. let's add our panel here today. First of all, joining us is the host of That Barclays Morning Magic, Mr. Vash Guy. Vash, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. Very much appreciate it. Just flew in, feeling good.
Mac, I don't know how you do it. You were on with me last night. Folks, we've done more live streams than usual. YouTube seems to be into that at the moment. We won't explain why. But we've done more live streams than usual, and Vash has been there for the evening shows. Vash, I know you don't need sleep, and the reason I know that is because you're not getting any sleep, making sure that the Pro Channel is moving and shaking and baking at every hour of the day.
Absolutely. Got my good, solid 3.5, 4 hours in, so feeling good.
That's right.
Oh my goodness, Vash. Also joining us is the host of That Game Place and, of course, the man in charge of the Culture Casino channel. Culture Casino.
Good morning, gentlemen. It feels like I've seen almost all of you within the last 24 hours, at least 3 times, so it's good to see you again.
Yep. And me and you keep playing that phone tag.
That's right.
Can I just say that Culture, when he introduced you as the operator of the Culture Casino channel,
yes,
I was in great anticipation to who it was going to be exactly. I didn't know. I was like, man, this is a big somebody.
You know,
it was you.
My sense of humor usually dictates that I say the wrong thing on purpose just to get a reaction out of everyone else.
I I am the proprietor, the operator, and well, the guy you blame over.
And of course, the house always wins on the Culture Casino channel.
Yeah, because we tell you the truth about entertainment most of the time.
That's right.
Now,
and folks, let me say this real quick. What you can take away from the first 5 minutes of this show is that, like the creatures of the sea, Jonas did it on purpose.
Oh,
man, it's gonna be one of those.
Yep. I worry about how much sleep you're getting, bro.
I'm totally fine. What are you talking about? Hey, right eye, point in the right direction. Come on, left eye, get with it.
All right. Finally, joining us is a very special guest. We love to have him on the channel. His rants are epic, and they're a great way to start the day. Also, he's got an excellent live stream called The Nightcap. Please welcome a little law and order to this channel. He's Derek Anderson, the DA.
Gentlemen, glad to be here, man. It's always great to come on the show, but today is especially a great day because it actually happens to be my birthday. So
really,
So I said, you know what better place to spend my birthday? Folks over here.
We've got the same birthday.
Yeah, you and
birthday.
This is phenomenal. But yeah, it is my birthday.
It's Vash's birthday too.
It's a double dose of birthdays.
Happy birthday! Happy birthday!
Had to give it twice, huh? I knew it was something I liked about you, Vash.
Man,
I love you, DA. Thank you.
Absolutely
Fantastic.
amazing. I tell you what, that is what kind of coincidence is that?
Well, let me tell you, folks, God laid down the gavel on this day with both the DA and Vash. What a great day it is, and we're happy that you all are here with us for the birthday bash. Change the thumbnail quick and get the candles up. Well, it's only too bad that we have to tell you what's up with Rachel Zegler and Disney instead, but I promise we'll tread back into the birthday stuff. Jonas, before we do so, we have super chats.
That's right, we do. First of all, Mark Fields for 199. Positive vibes to you all. Well, positive vibes to you, Mark Fields. Okay.
Hey, it's feeling very positive given all these birthdays.
Yep. Packing Protons for $2. Didn't we just do this yesterday? Well, it's cold out there, campers. So,
that's right.
We did do this yesterday.
It's cold out there every day.
Get your booties on. Hey, Packing, I know what you're up to, though. You're sniffing around for information about when I'm going to watch The Has-Been Hotel. And I'm telling you, Packing, info is coming out this weekend. We're going to make it into a big deal. It's not fair for people to pay the kind of money you all have to torture us and then us to just watch it and say, meh. So we're going to turn it into a thing. I got to talk to Culture about it. He doesn't even know what the plan is, but we're going to make something happen, hopefully, on the level of what we did with the Acolyte.
This next one makes me wish that Kevin Apollo were here to do a Ric Flair impression. I don't know why, but I feel like he can do one. Anyone got a good woo on them? It's got to be like 100 O's.
Woo! Let's see here.
There we go.
Pretty good.
Oh, see, I like it.
That was owly. Red, white, and blue, baby. Thank you very much, King of Monsters 1954, for your $2 super chat. Packing Protons for $2. We need an intro man emoji. Yay. The intro man. Yes, the one that the black and white one. We do.
Well, I'll tell you this. We were 40 members away from getting to the next emoji. And then somebody dropped some memberships. We may be there. So intro man may be on the next poll for members to decide what next emoji we receive.
Yep. Somebody's jumping the line here. Let's first of all, let's start with Flying Blind on a Rocket Cycle, gifting 5 WDW Pro memberships.
7 steps off, 7 steps
And then says for $5, apparently I've been out of the loop, so Pro is going to be looking at cat butts for charity. No, I believe he's looking at people in, well, Has-Been Hotel. I'm not going to describe the plot of Has-Been Hotel to you.
Hey, Flying Blind, don't give them ideas. Don't do it.
I think you should have to watch Cats.
You know, Culture, it's been a fun time having you as a panelist on the show, and we regret to say that You're going on a cruise. It's a long cruise to Antarctica.
Gilliam 2 gifted 5 WDW Pro memberships. Thank you.
All right, folks, every time Jonas gets interrupted, take a drink. And we hope it's coffee. You're feeling better already because we're stumbling over each other on accident. And it's all
here we
on
go.
me.
Here's the next one, though. It's appropriate considering the comment. Is this live member for 17 months? Well, in celebration of these wonderful birthdays, wait for it, 50 WDW Pro memberships.
Holy moly guacamole.
There are times when you are faced with a question of is this alive or is it dead? When you cannot figure out what incarnation this critter might be. That's when you call Is This Live at 1-888-IS-THIS-LIVE. Don't pay attention to the number, folks. Just dial it. And we'll help you out figuring out, is that critter live or not? IsThisLive.com.
Happy birthday!
Thank you, Is This Live? Thank you. Now,
Perfect.
folks, if you want to know what the best birthday gift is, though, that you can give, get on over there to T3PO, subscribe, and go to Derek Anderson if you're not yet. Well, today is the day. Say hip, hip, hooray. I became a subscriber of the DA.
Yep. And King of Monsters 1954 for 199 culture.
199.
No, the other one.
Oh, the woo.
Yeah.
Woo!
Hey,
happy birthday.
Let me just say this, culture, from here on out, because it's probably going to be a thing. If you see a woo in a super chat,
I want to hear it.
that's what we want.
And if we cover Marvel,
bring the woo.
Not for lose.
I'll bring the woo.
Bring the woo.
Waponi
Culture
woo.
the woo today. Culture the woo.
Waponi woo are coming.
Yes, a little bit of Orange Crush on the side. Albertus Magnus for 199. I vote for Vash for Disney CEO. That's right.
That'd work.
Whoa.
Make him
On his
suffer.
birthday. On his birthday.
I can get with that.
Grimlock
It's
State,
not
each
bad.
a rabbit. Oh, sorry, go ahead, Vash.
Oh, I was just going to say, I'm appointing all of you to the board of directors. Right there.
Oh, thank you.
I work for a living. What are you talking about?
We got to fix this company, Jonas. Come on.
You only have to show up like once a month, bro, and you get a private jet and $150K a year or something. It's just gravy, man.
All getting a bunch of rubber stamps. Grimlock say, eat your rabbit chickie. Member for 22. I can't believe Jonas would do it on porpoise. Yeah. As long as it wasn't across state lines.
Oh
no.
Stop it.
These are illegal purposes, guys. Packing protons for $5. I dropped the next Valiant Renegade $500 challenge. Natalie from Force of Light and Valiant to do a stream in bikinis. He didn't seem to be enthused.
Oh, I bet not. Oh.
Let me have to do that on Force of Light's channel in order to get them to agree to that.
Let me see if I understand this correctly. Packing, you not only want the ladies to be in swimwear, you're requesting that Valiant Renegade himself appear in a itsy bitsy teeny weeny yellow polka dot bikini. Do I have this right?
Wear clothes. Oop, almost forgot that one.
Lowest viewership stream ever.
I don't know. I feel like that's a moneymaker right there, and he'll be shaking that moneymaker by the end.
Valiant Renegade hot tub stream.
Oh my. JPS for $2. Happy birthdays, Vash and DA.
Yay.
Thank you so much.
A lot of birthday wishes in the super chats today. Brian Orb Lindsay for 5. Happy birthdays all around. Pro cats.
Yeah.
Not great, Bob.
Hey, a Duck Vader in the chat for $5. The Duck Lord is here. Happy birthday from the Duck Lord of the Sith. Oh, and
woo!
Yeah,
that's right, baby. That's right.
I want to hear it.
Keep the woos coming.
So good.
Can't wait to see Duck Vader in Avengers Doomsday, by the way. Glade Riven is dangerously sober. Member for 20. Going to have to get a Switch for Metroid Prime 4. I don't know. I think they're still going to put it on the Switch too. So you maybe you want to, I wouldn't say save your money. It's going to be really expensive.
$400.
I think $450. I think 450.
Does
With
it come with
tariff,
Metroid Prime 4 though?
450. And you have to remember how many of those parts are not necessarily sourced from Japan specifically. I think it's going to be a 450.
They've already got them building. They're building them. They've been building them for a while.
Right, but then they also have to get them across the border, and that costs money every time.
Airplane.
What is this? What is this? A cartel?
No, a cartridge.
Sneaking out. Get out. No, we can't do this anymore. These are too bad. They're too terrible. and yet I loved it.
All right. I know we still have to get super chats. But by the way, Tom App says happy birthday to you both.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. Appreciate it.
That's right. All right, folks, the news never stops, and neither do we. We'll get back to those super chats and all of those membership chats and all that. Folks, we do have bonus chats for members at the level 2 and above. Get over to the community tab and click those if you'd like to drop one in. We'll read them at the end of the show. But, folks, we must go to the first story up on the docket. We're going to rock it. Here it is. Take a look at this. From Steph Annie at My Nerdy Home over on X. Jonah Platt is being harassed by Rachel Zegler fans after commenting Mark Platt's visit to the actress after she made comments about El Trumpo supporters. Get ready, it's spicy, and we're going there. Jonah Platt is the son of the director of Snow White, and it turns out that perhaps the people behind the scenes were not having an all right time with the Zeglinator. Here is what evoked an emotive response from Jonah Platt. Brind13 said, "Your dad flew to New York City to reprimand a young actress? Any words on this? Because that's creepy as heck and uncalled for. People have the right to free speech. No, shame on your father." Wow. And Jonah Platt was, he felt obliged to defend his father's honor. And here's what he says back to a rando on the internet, who could be or could not be a synthetic manifestation of the chaos that Zegler has bestowed upon us all. But here's what Jonah Platt, son of the director of Snow White, had to say. "You really want to do this? Yeah, my dad, the producer of an enormous piece of Disney IP with hundreds of millions of dollars on the line, had to leave his family to fly across the country to reprimand." Oh, things are changing, folks. The language is changing from the people who know this best. To reprimand his 20-year-old employee for dragging her personal politics in the middle of promoting the movie for which she signed a multi-million-dollar contract to get paid and do publicity for. This is called adult responsibility and accountability. And her actions clearly hurt the film's box office. Free speech does not mean you're allowed to say whatever you want in your private employment without repercussions. Tens of thousands of people worked on that film, and she hijacked the conversation for her own immature desires at the risk, confirming the risk, of all the colleagues and crew and blue-collar workers who depend on that movie to be successful. Narcissism is not something to be coddled or encouraged. I continue to say that it is bizarre that Disney had to send the director to beg her to be within her contractual obligations. Why they didn't send some sort of mediator, I don't know. But if you have to physically send the director twice and she rebuffs you the first time, I think she's done. So
the only thing I'll point out here is Mark Platt is a producer. Mark Webb was the director.
Thank you, Jonas. I am happy to be corrected on that. I would hate to continue to be wrong about it. But as we go on, take a look at this. Trista Ginger says, and folks, I'm going to read these in the way I think they were intended to be read. "So your father really flew across the country to reprimand?" Geritol says, "Blaming your father's failure on Rachel is such a sad take. Was it her fault? Dear Evan Hansen sucked too?" And Gwen D. Quinn says, "He blocked me from his personal profile." You can see they're angry. They're angry people. They're mad that this is confirming what came out in the trades, but it is all too late for Zegler. Panel, what say you? We're getting not only are we confirming what was said, but also it's going farther. It's going beyond. Now we're hearing from the families of leadership around this production that she is a narcissist, that she did put people at risk, that she did refuse to comply, that people had to physically fly across the nation to go beg the 20-year-old, please do what you are signed to do. Panel, what make you of this and Rachel Zegler's future?
Well, I'll start off here. You can see, bring that back up real quick.
Yeah.
Mind,
Derek is in the screenshot.
Yeah, I'm right there in the screenshot over there on the left. Just one of the replies. Zegler fans are an absolute cult. I've been going back and forth with a few of them on X. I call them the Zeglerians because they're like this weird alien race that just falls down and worships at the feet of Rachel Zegler on everything that she does. And she can never do anything wrong. Never do anything wrong. They need more of these Zeglerians to go and buy tickets to this movie because this thing is absolutely flopping. I will say this, though. It's not 100% Rachel Zegler's fault. It's about 80% Rachel Zegler's fault that this movie is failing the way it's failing. Disney definitely shoulders some of the blame because it's just not a good movie. You know, it's just really not a very good movie. And even if Rachel Zegler was a shining star and she never did any of the things that she did, this movie would probably still be bad and it wouldn't do that well at the box office. But it really hurt the opening weekend to have all of this negativity surrounding this. To the fact that, you know, Jonah Platt had to go across the country, or excuse me, Mark Platt, had to go across the country, you know, to try to get Rachel Zegler on board with, hey, let's not ruin this movie before it comes out. Let's not destroy the reputations of all of these various people that, you know, worked on this movie by, you know, spouting your nonsense. Let's not have, you know, your fellow co-star deal with death threats. Let's not have all of that. Can you tone the noise down? And then Rachel Zegler pushes back, says, nope, I'm not pulling the tweet down. It just tells you everything you need to know about her character. But shout out to Jonah Platt and his character defending his father against all of these folks. Hey, I respect that. You know, I respect the young man defending his father in the face of all of the Zeglerians that are, yeah, and they're hating him. They're absolutely pouring all of their hate on his family, on anybody that has anything negative to say about this movie. It's really wild. But yeah, they're absolutely a cult, man.
Absolutely. And I'll tell you another thing about this. For Derek, what did you call the fans, the three fans that Zegler has?
The Zeglerians.
See, you're calling them the Zeglerians. I was thinking back to the Raylos, and I thought, this was weeks and months ago. I thought, if this Snow White thing actually lands and does well, maybe Zegheads is the name we're going to call them. But
that could be good.
There's less than a dozen total, Derek. So I don't know what to do. It's like
80. It's like 80% of them are probably bots. You know, I don't get it. I don't know where listen, I'm sure Rachel Zegler, you know, in her private life, personal life, has a couple of friends. I wonder if she has friends. You know, does she have actual friends that are telling her, hey, Rachel, maybe slow down on some of the stuff you're putting out there on social media? You know, like we all need good friends in our lives that'll hold us accountable and call us out and say, hey, you're messing up, you're doing this wrong, go in a different direction. It feels like she probably has a lot of yes men around her, and then her, you know, couple of fans that she, you know, subscribe to her on Instagram or whatever, are all beefing her up and gassing her up and making her believe that she's better than what she is. And, you know, she's 23 years old, right? Like you have barely touched life yet. Like, slow down with a lot of your commentary, especially when you're the headliner of the show, when you're the centerpiece, when you're a Disney princess, you're Snow White. You know, you need to carry yourself a certain way. And apparently she just never got that hint. She never got that message.
Well, apparently it's funny that you call her sorry, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, apparently the leadership of the film had to fly out to her to say, listen, the stuff you're posting is actually putting your co-star at risk. Like, we're having to get security to protect Gal Gadot. Can you take it down? And she said, no. She said, no, Jonas.
I think it's fascinating when you think about the word Zeglerian, because in some way this is the perfect. This is like the icing on top of the cake of everything that Disney has been cultivating over the last 5 years. That self-praise, that self-actualization that they, as a company, seem to have been going for. It's almost as if she came down out of a weird pyramid on the top of a New York skyscraper and said, choose the form of your destroyer. And it was a little Broadway girl that views herself as intersectional and is also the most narcissistic thing that you could put in the place of the sweet little Snow White.
Well, I just see it as I think the DA, I think Derek's got it 100%, because I see a terrible alien villain against the crew in Star Trek.
Well,
Zeglerians are here.
I actually think Jonas is onto something. We have a clip of the leadership of Disney going to speak to Rachel Zegler, folks. This is exclusive. We have hidden camera footage of when they went to go convince Zegler that she should return to being somewhat normal and amicable.
As a duly designated representative of the city, county, and state of New York, I order you to cease any and all supernatural activity and return forthwith to your place of origin or to the nearest convenient parallel dimension. That ought to do it. Thanks very much, Ray.
And Zegler said no.
Are you a god, Bob?
You're not mine.
All right, guys, how unusual is all of this? I mean, the strange thing to me is we keep covering Zegler because she's not out there saying dumb things on camera anymore. This is a train wreck that keeps on pumping out the stuff as people are ready to talk now. And that's why we can't keep up with it all.
Well, because we're a daily news channel, and this is the biggest public relations disaster in the history of cinema. People died on film sets and had less of a PR problem than Snow White, for Disney's Snow White, the official title of this film. It is amazing to me that you could get someone who is so much the opposite of what you would hope for in a star to market your film. And Disney has for years tried to they have cast people in the role, but they're casting them for the marketing of films. So this is really just desserts for them. And the fact that they are casting directors for these films to say, oh, this is the such and such of this particular adjective about them, and they were oppressed or something, but they're also directing a $300 million film. Like, this is the kind of thing that was bound to happen eventually. And it's it is everything that they, like I said, everything they've cultivated over the last few years, where they are trying so hard to make everything about the production. It's not just the movie. The movie is almost a secondary thing to the narrative of the kind of things they're doing over there at Disney. Well, guess what? There's a little bit of lore around the making of Snow White, but you don't have to know any of that to enjoy the 1937 masterpiece from Walt Disney, because it is a great film. This one is going to stand there like the plaque from the Ozymandias poem that says, "Look upon me, my works, ye mighty, and despair." But it's just a piece of rubble out there in a desert. This thing is going to be studied academically because no one's going to be watching this for fun.
Well, and apparently this all stems back even further than even I was necessarily anticipating. I guess in that Variety piece article right there, it relays a story in which Rachel Zegler was a little bit miffed that she didn't get invited to the 2022 Oscars, because apparently Sean Bailey wanted to keep her out in order to properly promote Disney's Snow White, which I guess is somewhat understandable, but I guess she's been taking it out on the mouse ever since, and that's just crazy. We've heard about the production problems, obviously. We've heard about the massive reshoots, the fire that stopped production for a little while, the controversies surrounding all of that, the strikes and so forth, delaying production, Gal Gadot having to have kids in the middle of all of that. I mean, it's that would have been a story by itself, but to have all of this added on to it, the producer flying out twice to quell Rachel Zegler right there and her bombastic tweets or I should say social media posts that are doing severe damage to this movie right here. $270 million at least. We think that's a lot more, by the way. $300 million, $400 million. This is a disaster, an absolute disaster, and who knows what kind of brand damage, lasting brand damage, has been done because of all of this, because I don't think people are going to be seeing the Disney product in a vacuum like Disney would want.
Well, I, for one, would like to congratulate Zegler, because when she saw the Dial of Destiny and the train wreck that was that, with all the injuries and the pandemic stuff, she said, "Hold my spritzer." And she went for it, and she managed to make a production even worse than the Dial of Destiny. Congrats on Zegler on eclipsing KK. It's a heck of a day when you do so. All right, Jonas, let's get those super chats, and then we've got another story, if you can believe it, about Snow White.
Sorry, forgive me, I was muted there. Liberty Hall's Cat, member for 12. Hey, Pro, as a feline, the finest feline on the internet, to quote a prominent YouTuber, I hereby grant you a pardon for having to watch Cats. Wait. This says for having to watch Cats. So does this mean he gets to commit a crime at a later date and is pardoned from that crime? Or is it a pardon that means he doesn't have to watch Cats? I would prefer the former to the latter.
I don't think you can pre-pardon. You have to commit the crime first.
I think we're going to find out, aren't we?
As a recipient of this here YouTube pardon, I'm not going to be very legalistic. It's the heart of the law that matters.
Well, apparently there's a special cut that we can get for you, Pro.
Yeah. There's more than one way to skin a cat.
There you go.
Packing Protons for $5. Time for everyone's favorite game. Is it Snow White or is it Star Wars? If you've been watching for the past few weeks, you get it.
Power of acronyms.
Sorry, Packing.
That's the news. I mean, this is dominating the news cycle. I can't believe it, but I mean, Disney apparently enjoys apex predators in their parks, but that's a whole other conversation.
Well, we've got some. We'll be talking about those parks in a little bit. Hang tight, folks. Disney World is having a not so dandy of a day.
Yeah. Packing Protons for $5. Pro, you have to throw in something for the ladies if we get the Porcelain Light ladies in bikinis.
I think the chances of that are as low as getting Valiant in a bikini for a live stream.
How this is going to be very awkward when Michelle shows up later in the show.
all I can tell you is classy are they.
Yep. Big Blue Horses for $199.
Whoa!
Pro should never watch Cats ever.
Big Blue Horses, I knew I liked you. I just didn't know how much.
Is Big Blue Horses your alt account? Packing Protons for $2. I don't think hashtag I stand with Zegler is going to catch. Not on X, at least. It might on Instagram.
Now what's that blue thing with the butterfly?
Blueski.
Yeah.
Maybe
there.
Oh yeah, those Blueskis over there. They're big time Zegler fans, eh?
Yep.
Oh, the Blueskis.
Highlander 777 for $2. Rachel Zegler will soon be, if not already, a has-been.
In more ways than one, maybe.
Because Highlander is one of the funders of the has-been viewing. Dragon Master 0 in parentheses, though, so perhaps this is translated. For $5, what do you expect? She is a self-absorbed, entitled psychopath who thinks the world bends to her. Disney is to be blamed, too.
10-4, amen, 100%. Agreed.
A tipping barn for $10. I originally wasn't going to check out the show due to a haddock. Interesting. But realized I was being shellfish. I see where you're going here. I'm glad I came. Thank God, because I've had a whale of a time. I can feel the joy in my soul. Now that is an illegal porpoise right there.
I think we are witnessing a legend.
Yep. Ken Reihard for $2. Rachel Zegler's future appears to be in the past.
Oh, yeah.
That would be true. I would say that she is not going to be a starfish much longer.
Thank you, Ken. Albertus Magnus for $4.99. It's Hollywood, baby. Oh, that's a quote, I believe. Rachel Zegler's friends are telling her to keep going. Well, they have to. Otherwise, they're not going to get paid.
Stay on that seahorse you rode in on.
Dragon Queen for $20 American dollars gives Pro a hug. I see I'm away and Packing Protons torments everyone.
I don't know about torment, but let's just say if Jonas appears in a bikini next week, it won't surprise me at the rate we're going.
Moving on. Flying Blind on a
Nay, I say.
Return! The Dragon Queen!
There we go. Now we can move.
Flying Blind on a rocket cycle for $5. This just in, a federal judge has granted Wilton's petition and mandated Rachel Zegler become the next Indiana Jones.
I will let Lorne know his nightmare has arrived.
Packing Protons for $5. Idea for theaters: vote a movie. Have a selection of 50 movies from 1930 to 2000. If a movie gets over 100 votes, it's in there for a month. Get ready to get rickrolled on screen.
You know, listen, I think given the fact that audiences are watching in total on streaming 60% older content versus 40% of newer content, that's content within the last 3 years versus beyond, I think the same could happen in movies. I think that you could just put on an old movie that maybe isn't quite so available on streaming, and it would probably outperform some of these things that they're spending hundreds of millions of dollars on.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, there's such a hurdle to get over when they're spending so much on every production. I don't understand. Like, I think we saw that the budget for Freakier Friday is already $100 million. Like, there's no reason that needs to be $100 million production.
It's such an it's an unsustainable business model. Like, why would you make that movie for $100 million? You could probably make it for $20 million. Gosh, man.
Let's run the numbers. $100 million in production, probably has to have $100 million in marketing, maybe less, but maybe $100 million. That puts it at $200 million total cost. That puts it at a $400 million break even. And that's how Disney doesn't seem to understand simple economic math.
Well, the corporate structure there is toppling the entire company. They could have farmed that out with the contracts in place and actually had a chance of making money. There are so many indie filmmakers out there who are capable of doing something like that for under $1 million, other than the paycheck that you got to pay to Lindsay Lohan and what's her name? Jamie Lee Curtis. Is the husband Manny Jacinto from The Acolyte? Anyways, Liberty Hall's Cat for $4.99. Hey Pro panel and chat $4.99 for the Target. Celebrating the day with a new eye. Had my first cataract removed yesterday and loving it. One more to go.
Well, the finest feline online. We're happy that you can finally lay eye on Jonas and see that dapper fellow with his very, very, what do we call that? Is that an elite blazer, an elite three-piece suit you have, Jonas? What would we say?
It's a three-piece suit. Yeah, I think for the blazer, it has to be kind of separate from the outfit. It's a piece on its own. If it's a blazer, this would be a.
I expect a tuxedo next week. White tie, Jonas. White tie affair.
Well, I'll see what I can do. Oh, here we go. There we go.
White tie, Jonas. White tie.
No. I think we're good here.
All right, folks, let's go to the next thing. And it is definitely not a day when Disney is good. Get ready. Here we go. Out of That Park Place by Marvin Montanaro, Rachel Zegler got a social media handler. Gina Carano got fired. The Disney double standard. And today what we're looking at it, does the information coming out about Zegler impact the lawsuit that will begin to start rolling in just a few months, funded by Elon Musk? The way Disney handled Rachel Zegler after her political social media meltdown stands in stark contrast with the company's firing of Gina Carano. In a just world, rules are applied equally, but in Disney's world, the only rule that matters is brand value, and everything else, including company values, is negotiable. This week, a Variety expose revealed that Disney assigned Snow White actress Rachel Zegler a personal social media guru to review her posts after she published political messages that alienated a significant portion of the American public. Among them, blank Orange Man and May El Trumpo supporters and the Trumpster voters and the Don himself, Never No Peace. Think about that. A lead actress in a $270 million Disney family film openly wished misfortune on half the country, maybe even more. Not years ago, during the run-up to the film's release in 2024, and Disney's response, not termination, not a public reprimand, not even a real apology. What happened? She was given help, assistance. Meanwhile, Gina Carano was put through the spin cycle of Lucasfilm, tossed and tumbled, and then bumbled out by the House of Mouse and forced to hide out, basically in her home as if it was a bunker. The news broke to her the same way it was broken to us, and the paparazzi convened around her. It was a terrifying time. Gina, deeply mistreated, we believe, and now the lawsuit is proceeding. June is when we'll get to more stuff, but panel, I open it up to you. What do you think? Does the information we're getting about Zegler add to the woes of Disney as they tried to defend how they did Gina so badly with Star Wars?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Listen, they did Gina Carano wrong and on so many different levels. But the main thing is, firstly, what Gina says isn't anywhere close to what Rachel Zegler said regarding Trump supporters, etc. You know, Gina Carano's post that she put up, the one that ultimately, caused her to be fired by Disney, was just, hey, don't demonize your neighbors. Everybody try to get along. Don't hate your neighbors, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, you're fired. You're like, what? Where did that come from? Right. But what Rachel Zegler said not only was, evil and hateful, but she said it in the middle of, Snow White's already bad press campaign. And she said it in conjunction. A lot of things she said was in conjunction with the film itself, with the with the promotion, I should say, of the movie. A lot of the things she said was with the promotions of the movie. Gina Carano's statements were completely separate from her role as, Cara Dune with The Mandalorian. So there was absolutely no reason to fire her. And if anything, yeah, you get her a social media handler, or you say, okay, hey, Gina, try to tone some of that language down or whatever if you don't like it. But zero reason to let her go. And so the fact that they treated her one way and Rachel Zegler a different way, it means that this is where Disney sided with. They have the same beliefs and the same ideology as Rachel Zegler, and that's the reason why they went all to bat for her. And then with Gina Carano, we don't like you, we don't like what you have to say, we're just going to get rid of you. We're just going to quietly get you out the door, or loudly get you out the door. They fired her over social media, I think. It was just absolutely ridiculous, man. So the whole thing is blowing up in their face. I love it, by the way. I absolutely love this, because Disney's getting everything that they 100% deserve on how they've been treating their stars, how they've been handling everything. They are getting what they deserve at this point in time. So good for them.
Hey, Vash, Albertus Magnus out there in the chat says that Disney has yet to call Zegler vile, as did the anonymous sourcing, we assume from Lucasfilm, because that's how it was reported. They did that to Gina Carano, as they said no more of her. And Derek's exactly right. These are polar opposites. And the reaction was the polar opposite from Disney, right? So they actually punished someone who we deemed to be innocent, having looked at all the facts, and they assist someone who is being very resistant to doing the right thing. Vash, I think this is going to play out poorly if this thing goes to a judge and actually progresses down the legal path.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. You would have thought that they would have been consistent with this policy, given what was going on with Gina Carano. The article from Variety sets it up as if they were hesitant to implement a similar policy with Zegler with that litigation in place. But again, all Gina has to do is amend those filings and go, well, you treated this actress very differently than you treated me. Now, I think the defense will be, well, Lucasfilm's a separate division and so forth. They make their own, decisions regarding that. But clearly, from that Variety article, they were thinking about that other lawsuit when they were making their decision there. I'm kind of in favor of some kind of ethical clause being attached to all these films in order to prevent these things from happening, in order to keep these cast members on and to keep the product as solid as it can be. This film, this $270+ million film, required every single advantage that it could possibly muster, because it was so significant for the studio, and everybody was going to compare this to the 1937 animated classic. So the idea that they didn't have some type of clause in place that said, hey, look, listen, if you speak out in a way that damages this product, we're going to sue you, or you're going to have to forego some type of other pay for this film, I think is absolutely bizarre when everything is on the line here.
Hey, Vash, can you get that article ready? Because I want to get that paragraph. We'll share that in just a minute. I want to go to Culture. Culture, there's a really interesting thing at play here. So as Vash was talking about the article, one of the things that it talks about is that Disney, allegedly, that Disney didn't respond to Rachel Zegler because they were worried that they would be doing the same thing that they did to Gina, but they don't think they did anything wrong to Gina. Now, here's what I think's happening, and you tell me what you think about it. Vash, is that ready?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Okay. If you can read us the part where it says the part about Gina, please, real quick.
Yep, absolutely. And as time went on, Disney became increasingly loath to weigh in on anyone's speech, considering that the studio was sued in 2024 by actress Gina Carano, who claims that she was fired from, quote, The Mandalorian for voicing her opinions on hot button issues. This was obviously following what was happening, like what with the 1937 comments and so forth at the D23 Expo. some insider says the first time she shoots her mouth off, you nip it in the bud. Apparently, there were maybe executives and insiders who wanted to do something, but the variety in this article is suggesting that because of what was going on with Gina Carano, they did not.
Okay, so culture, here's what I think we should play with. That article now, much of the detail within it is being confirmed by the family of the leadership behind the movie. Okay. So now we're getting confirmation. There's only one place that info can come from for the sourcing of that article. In my opinion, that's Disney.
Yeah.
I'm curious, do you think that that's in that article about Gina Carano as a legal defense because they know they treated Gina and Zegler completely differently and they're exposed?
I think that the journalist behind this actually is making that assumption. I would agree with them. I mean, taking the information from inside, and it did come from Disney. There's no doubt that all of that stuff had to come from Disney, and the fact that it's corroborated. There's the word. It would suggest that Disney knows they're in big trouble with the Gina Carano case. I think they know. I think they know that they don't want to expose themselves to another person that's going to take them to court and
all of Hollywood culture, because if they lose that, it's going to change the way they treat conservatives and moderates in the industry.
Yeah, but I think that's actually going to happen anyway. I think you're already seeing that because they didn't bother to check her on her political opinions. The pro one side in the Middle East fight situation that
I got to see them treat a conservative carefully, cautiously, and kindly first.
Well, I think you're going to see that. I mean, so far there hasn't been a lot of shade thrown at the producer and likely director of the Resurrection of the Christ. Nobody's gone after Mel Gibson recently in a while. James Woods is no longer being attacked as he used to be.
But he's not working either. Nobody's reaching out and say, "Hey, James, you're a major celebrity. You want to come be in our movie again?"
Right. And in fact, he was on Oppenheimer. He was a producer on Oppenheimer, and he left his name off of it in order to get it funded.
Yeah, and again, wild. And that's a few years ago. Okay, but I'm starting, like you said, I'm starting to see slightly different takes in the political sphere in Hollywood. It doesn't mean that they aren't overshadowed by the misbehavior of everybody else there, but I would say that there will be a chilling effect on this going forward. And I think that every contract, this is something Vash suggested earlier, and I agree, you include classes on ethics and outline, proper social media behavior. You include that as part of the contract in any film or television show you put together. I think it's a brilliant idea. The problem is most of these people who see themselves as activists, they don't care. But I have a feeling that the first time an ethics clause or a moral perpetuity clause or any of those issues are actually enforced and publicly so, like it's actually stated by the studio that we're enforcing this, that'll bring around a chilling effect as well. Because this film failed in part, maybe even large part, because of her shooting off her mouth.
And culture, The Mandalorian succeeded in large part because of Gina. And that's undeniable after the fall off.
Yep. Well, what's interesting is,
go ahead. Sorry, Derek.
They knew that Rachel Zegler was a problem pill from day one. They already talked about the Oscar situation back in 2022. All right. That was, I think, before they even started filming Snow White. So they knew that she could be this type of a person. Maybe, they still had some question marks like, are we doing the right thing? But they picked Rachel Zegler because of her Latina background, because of her heritage, and they rocked with it all the way out. Instead of just saying, you know what, this actress really isn't going to work out for us, guys. We see already she's causing some problems behind the scenes just because of this Oscar invite. Let's go ahead and just move on, find somebody else. We can quietly get rid of her. But they wanted to keep her on, in my opinion, because she's a Latina and there's diversity brownie points to be gained here. We want to do the whole, hey, see yourself, modern, representation, all of that stuff. And it's like, okay, this is what happens because of that. You dealt with a problem child who was a problem from the very beginning. You saw this. You should have seen this coming. All right. A lot of us did. A lot of us have been saying, I don't know about Rachel Zegler. I kind of see what she's like on social media. She's not capable of controlling herself. And you're putting her as a Disney princess. All right. This isn't, some other kind of, this is Snow White we're talking about. All right. This is a very, the character is kind, sweet, demure, innocent, childlike. You want some actress that can kind of embody that. And Rachel Zegler's social media absolutely said the opposite of that. So this was bound to happen. Disney, you guys, you saw this situation coming, but you thought you could control it. You cannot control these these actresses that just want to get out on social media, run their mouths, shoot off their mouths. You cannot control them. And so the best thing to do is don't hire them in the first place. Forget all of the, hey, we got to get them a social media manager. We got to make sure that they walk the line and do the right thing. And we'll kind of, curate all of their posts. No, just don't hire them. Okay. And then the problem will correct itself. Then everybody, you know what? I'm not getting work anymore. I wonder if it has something to do with my social media, and that's there it is. So that's what Disney should do. And all of these other Hollywood companies. Stop hiring these actresses. When when Amanda Stenberg goes out and drops a diss track on Star Wars fans, are you going to hire her for that? She's going to drop a diss track on your fans, the next project that she's in, if she doesn't get her way, or if people have some criticisms about her. So just don't hire these actresses. Problem solved. Thank you. You can
I
drop
don't
some
disagree
checks
with
in the mail
this.
for me. I just did it for you.
I don't disagree with this assessment at all. But
Don't
now
press
that the
send.
die has been cast, so to speak, there has to be consequences for these actresses, right? I mean, Amanda Stenberg, Zegler, they take those projects in a big way. You got to start enforcing something on these. Like, hey, look, listen, you did irreparable damage for us. Hey, even, they hired security for Gal Gadot, apparently. Okay, well, that comes out of your pocket because we wouldn't have had to do that unless you got involved in this way. There has to be some consequences or else this chilling effect never happens. But I agree with DA. Hire team players from the start.
I'll just point out there's 10,000 people that work on these movies. It is, if you watch the credits, they are longer and longer than ever before. So this is affecting a lot of people. I don't know how many people on those on that list are getting points, but they're definitely not getting paid anything.
Bingo.
For these movies
that's the thing.
that just go in the hole.
Do we think that maybe the producer would have had something to do with this, given that he's looking to produce another film for Disney, and obviously, I mean, he might be getting points as part of this. We have his son speaking out, and we have some details and information that maybe would only be privy to him and his team. Do we think this is maybe the origin point for this specific article on Variety?
What happens with a sinking ship? Everybody wants to get off, and everybody wants to say it was that person over there who put the hole in the darn thing. And frankly, we've all known that Zegler is an iceberg now for 3 years. So kudos to them for finding a way to find a lifeboat if they can.
And let me make one last point, Pro, if you don't mind. I've heard a lot of people talking about her age. Oh, she's a young girl. She was only 20, 21, 22. Look, so is Jenna Ortega. And you don't see all this nonsense coming out of Jenna Ortega. Halle Bailey was a perfect little princess, even though I disagreed with the whole race swap. But she embodied the role of Ariel the way that you would expect a Disney princess to do. So Rachel Zegler, and I think they're both younger than Rachel Zegler, if I'm not mistaken, or they're around the same age. They're both young, and they do a perfect job at handling themselves in the media, on social media. Like, Rachel Zegler just doesn't need social media. They should get it out of her hands. But this has nothing to do with age. This has everything to do with narcissism. This has everything to do with immaturity. That's basically what this is about. So yeah, I'm tired of that excuse as well. Stop it. All right. There's no excuse for her behavior.
Derek, I'm so happy that you brought that up. That's exactly what I was thinking about Jenna Ortega. And we actually have a story. I think the media, those sympathetic to Zegler, they're going to try to pit her and Ortega against each other. Folks, we'll talk about it. I think that's happening. It's going to be the last story of the day. Hang in there. We'll get to it. And Jonas, as we're on our way, let's do some super chats.
All righty. First of all, we need to get this one up. Dude Man Cuz for $50. Happy birthday, Vash and Derek. Can't get enough of that pro show. Thanks, everyone. Thank you so much, Dude Man Cuz.
Very, very kind. And by the way, folks, the best way possible that you can show some love to both of these guys on their birthdays, get over there and subscribe to their content. You will not be disappointed. Phenomenal both. Going over to Derek, the D.A. Anderson, as well as That Pod Place, also known as T3PO, and support these birthday bros.
Yep.
birthday.
Should I play it again, Jonas? There's 2 birthdays. We got to play it again.
The crab people shall finally reign supreme.
Crab people, crab people.
Stop it. Get some help.
For the record, Jonas played the last one.
So you admit you're the one who plays the crab clip. Proud Dad 2010 for $4.99. Here, Pro, a bag of snacks on me while you're watching Cats. Sounds like you could use some comfort food. And
well, Proud Dad, thank you for the fancy feast. I just can't wait. I can hardly share the amount of joy I'm going to have with that.
Yeah. It's funny. My wife went with me to go see Snow White. And while the movie itself was horrible, she usually doesn't go to these ones that we just watch out of obligation. But man, it was a blast just sitting there and laughing at that movie with my wife. I did have to pay for theater grade snacks, though. Yikes. The only difference there is they cost more. So Alberta's Magnus for $1.99. Disney has yet to call Rachel Zegler vile as they did Gina Carano. Please do it, Disney. Please do that.
And Albertus, that was such a good comment. I had to put it up in the middle of the conversation. It was so perfectly timed.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Schmarm for $10. What a name. Happy birthday, Vash and DA.
Happy birthday. That's what I say.
Flying blind on a rocket cycle for $5. This just in. Alf has been cast in Avengers Doomsday. Rabbit chicken tacos to drop movie sponsorship.
You're the one who's out of this world, sweet baby. You're the one who's out of this world.
I like Bruce Springsteen Alf. That should be his superhero mantle.
Although I would say,
look at culture. I'm not saying I like Bruce. I'm saying that I like Alf as Bruce. Come on, man. Come on.
You want pretend Aggie Bruce Springsteen?
Yeah.
There's nobody that represents the false image of American ruggedness more than the rich white liberals who love Bruce Springsteen.
Wow.
Doge for $2. Disney has admitted they're officially not neutral. Yeah. Totally. 1 billion votes on the shareholder proposals against changing anything politically about the company.
I feel like the investors that thought they had a chance to make change last year were rebuked enough that the institutional ownership of 16% is just always going to feel insurmountable to them.
There's also 1% weighing in against Disney there, which is 1%. Yeah. What only 1% opposed to the change there. So there's so much suspicious about what's going on there too. Throw that in.
How if a lot of people call questions about how things are done and people like selecting them or not in all other aspects of life, how would we actually believe after some of the things that have happened by these agencies that are representing these companies, like Deloitte and Touche and such? How do you possibly think you could trust them now?
Well, here's a way to think about this. In any election, if people vote for something at 1% in a binary choice, you can throw it out. There's no way it's real. And the reason I say that is because, and this is just as a theory, folks, the reason for that is because if you were to put out a question for all of America or even the world and it's a real election and everybody gets to decide what we're going to do here, and the vote is keep the universe or utterly obliterate the cosmos, you would still get more than 1% that would vote, in some sort of bizarrely insane way to obliterate the cosmos. So the idea that Disney put out a vote and 1% said, yeah, we should not be political. Give me a break. I'm not believing it.
Yeah, I think it probably has more to do with Big Pharma on the obliteration choice, but sure.
You know what probably has a lot to do with Big Pharma? Man, Bear, Pig for $5. The Death of Snow White comes out next month. Spread the word. Wouldn't it be hilarious if it did better than Disney's Snow White? It will, from a profit standpoint, I'm sure, unless they spent a lot more on it than I think they did.
I'm just happy to see Man Bear Pig out there. I thought he was just a hoax.
Proud Dad 2010, thank you again for the super chats. For $4.99, Rachel Zegler is easy to manipulate and goes with Disney's ideology. Gina is a strong woman with principles, and Disney can't handle that.
They cannot handle real strong women.
That's right. Josh Berg for $5. Ziegler's social media handler is from the Views legal team.
Hey, Rachel, here's Sonny's handler. You two have fun.
Ooh. Allegedly, Stardust for $2.49 in euros. Thank you, guys. My family thinks Pro is John Cena. Me too.
I appreciate that, and I feel even more ripped now.
Yeah. You got to respect a man in jorts, you know. Old Greg for $4.99. Can't we just have Rachel Zegler and Jenna Ortega fight in the octagon? I still think Jenna Ortega would come out on top in that particular instance, by the way.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know, Holly Bailey is a little older. She just turned 25. She's already a mother, by the way.
Yeah, I think Halle Bailey would probably win in a fight between the three of them.
Well,
her birthday's today too.
By the way, barely 5 feet tall.
Really?
Ultra featherweight.
Sorry, bro.
What did you say, Vash? I actually talked over you on accident.
Her birthday's today, Halle Bailey. Just turned 25.
Oh, come on.
I'm telling you. I'm
looking
at it
right
now. March 27, 2000.
Happy birthday!
You're just giving him more reasons to play the clip, Vash.
I'm actually worried about Frosty at this point. I think Frosty might melt from all the joy here.
Crazy.
Butter Biscuit 92 for $5. If I talked like Ziegler, my dad would have said, get out. My mom would say, there's 2 doors and several windows. Pick one. Changes that tune quick.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I hope they're all on the first floor.
Yep.
All right, folks, we've got another panelist joining us. Let's find out who it might be.
Who could that?
It's Michelle.
Hello, everyone.
Welcome aboard, Michelle. Happy to have you with us. And folks, we are going to get with it when it comes to another bit of news. But Michelle, there's been some questions out in the chat before we do so. There are those who think that Valiant Renegade should have a hot tub live stream and that he should be in a bikini. And I'm just not sure that's the way for him to get views. I don't know that he would be a very good Cajun stew. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't think that's the best road for Valiant to take. I can't advise that for him.
Look, you guys are not looking at this the right way. I'm going to say that it would be great because he could sell the hot tub water, because you know all the Valiant simps out there are going to buy up that water. And you know, it doesn't cost him anything. He goes outside his house into the swamp and scoops it up. So he's good.
You know, none of us know the answer to this. I don't know. He might, Valiant might be a little bit of a Sean Connery. He may, he might be Austin Powers when he gets in that bikini. I don't know.
Wait, are you suggesting that he's basically going to look like he's wearing a sweater anyway?
I'm just putting it out there that no one knows the answer to this.
Well,
we finally bring Michelle onto the panel, and we're discussing Valiant Renegade's chest hair now. What are we doing, guys?
Listen. We know what trends on YouTube. Okay, Jonas, we know.
Is this live for $5 Canadian? Playing the clip too much? No way. Happy birthday, Vash and DA. Culture.
Woo! Okay.
I want to hear it.
I did. Sorry. I didn't.
Happy birthday to you, gentlemen.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Michelle. Very much appreciate that, and thank you, Dude Man Cuz, by the way.
Dude Man Cuz.
There you go. All right, folks, let's get to the news. Here we go. It's out of Business Insider, but it's hosted by MSN. You say, well, why then is it not on Business Insider on the screen? Well, because it's behind a paywall there, but MSN has it available for everyone, and that's a win for us. This is Trump's FCC says it will start investigating Disney 2. Oh, boy, the wins just keep on coming. Brendan Carr, the head of the Federal Communications Commission, says he's going to start investigating Disney's DEI practices. Carr has already announced similar DEI investigations into Comcast and Verizon. Donald Trump, who appointed Carr to run the FCC, has made it clear he thinks many media companies are his enemies. Surprised that. Carr says he's merely enforcing existing rules. Here's the article. Last month, the Trump administration said it was going to start investigating Comcast. Next on the list, Disney. Brendan Carr, the chairman of the FCC, says he will likely start probing Disney's DEI practices and is putting the finishing touches on a letter to the company announcing his efforts. And folks, what that means is when the FCC sends that letter, it will likely be public. And yes, coverage will be right here. Carr told Punchbowl News his aim would be similar to DEI-centric investigations he's already announced for Comcast and Verizon. Earlier this month, Disney shareholders rejected an anti-DEI proposal. We're going to talk about this. Carr's interview was published a few days after he'd announced the FCC might block any deal involving a company that promotes DEI. His quote, any businesses that are looking for FCC approval, I would encourage them to get busy ending any sort of their invidious forms of DEI discrimination, he said last week. All right, panel, we have thought out loud in the past that the votes from Disney shareholders looked a little fishy. Now the FCC is getting involved. How ugly could this get? And what do you think might be at the end of this road for Disney if the government starts probing the DEI practices they had in place, especially given that even outside of the artistic endeavors of entertainment, we know that in the merit technical aspects, they were publicly and proudly pushing quotas based on immutable differences.
Well, it's been outed. The Reimagine Tomorrow was a disgusting display of things, including the story groups and everything else that were developed in order to put all this garbage in the way of everything else. But what I think is the most important question here, Pro, and for maybe the entire panel, is anytime there's an investigation, there's a chance you're going to stumble onto something else that's related to that that's going to be even a bigger problem and a violation of law, and that'll lead you into the next thing. And it's like a thread. You pull a thread on a sweater, it unravels. And
we're only 1 month, Culture. We're only 1 month past when Disney ended Reimagine Tomorrow, started removing DEI stuff, and it looks like we can see why. The feds said we'd had enough. You got to think that Disney might have had some insight that this was coming, and they started preparing for it. But the elimination of it says to me that they thought they might have been too far. And maybe I'm just speculating here, no knowledge whatsoever, but just speculating. Maybe they thought they were in shaky, thin ice legal territory as well. Michelle, what do you think about all of this? And do you think the FCC could put a hurting on the House of Mouse?
I think they definitely could. I think it would just kind of depend, like, do they want to kind of make an example out of Disney or not in this situation? Because it's kind of like Culture said, like the proof's already there. I will say, I do think that these companies are getting smart and they're just kind of, they're doing away with DEI, but then they're just changing the name to something else and they continue doing they just kind of continue doing what they want to do.
What are they calling it now that they've renamed this? What is the new stuff they're doing?
What is it? It's
there's inclusion, there's belonging, there's bridge.
Yeah, bridge.
I forget what the acronym is, but yeah, it starts with belonging. So
belonging, something like that. I will say though, I mean, the person who does know where the bodies are buried, DBI Perlmutter. Remember, I talked about this on Inauguration Day back in January 20th of this year. Ike Perlmutter was right behind Donald Trump as he was being inaugurated right there. My suspicion was he was going to play a bigger role in this second administration right here. And I do wonder if he kind of nudged along that FCC director going, hey, if you want to go after somebody, Disney is definitely qualifies. And so I do, even though, Michelle, I do agree with you, these companies are getting smarter and they're moving stuff around. I wouldn't think that Ike Perlmutter knows exactly where to go in a place that maybe Disney wasn't previously expecting.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, the walls are starting to close in on Disney, aren't they? It's like, with the Gina Carano. Yeah, don't forget also Elon Musk, right? Elon Musk has a bone to pick with Disney as well. And he's right in there with the Gina Carano lawsuit. So you got this, and he was, obviously, embedded with the Trump cabinet. So you got, the walls closing in on this side. You got to get rid of your DEI stuff, but then you're going to vote it down in the shareholders meeting. But at the end of the day, look, DEI, let's just call it what it is. It's racism. All right. We're supposed to get rid of this stuff. We're supposed to be beyond this. I keep seeing these posts popping up on X where someone talks about a movie like Bad Boys. It's like, hey, made back in 1995, audiences loved it. It spawned multiple sequels. Nobody had to say anything about diversity, equity, and inclusion. It didn't need all of these, buzzwords and code words to get that movie made and make it popular, and people loved it everywhere. I said, it's a pointless thing. It's pointless. All right, to push all of this stuff through all of the corporations. Target found out, all of these other companies, Bud Light found out, Disney is finding out. You stop. All right, it's over. It's a done deal. Whatever money people were able to make off of this, because the people that were really benefiting from this were these activists that would host these little seminars and drag them into your corporation. Oh, we're going to teach you about diversity and how important it is and some of the microaggressions and blah, 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 blah. And it's like, listen, this stuff is stupid. It doesn't do anything for the bottom line. It doesn't help people mend fences. Just let us be normal human beings. We'll talk to each other. We'll figure things out. We don't need DEI or any of these corporate things to be slammed in our faces. It's kind of old. I'm tired of it. I'm sick of seeing it. I don't know about you guys. I'm sick of seeing it. So I'm hoping that this just, these companies that are feeling the hurt and feeling the pinch of, federal pressure, now governmental pressure, saying enough. I'm hoping that this puts a final nail in the coffin of DEI, because I'm sick of it.
Do you think that there was an effort to actively sabotage corporations, dumb down civilizations across the board? Do you think this was part of that? Because I'm looking at it when I step back and look at it. I'm like, well, we made the kids dumber coming out of schools because we didn't educate them very well. If you've seen some of the recent statistics, your workforce is dumber. They're unprepared. They're not skilled. They don't have any worldly experience, and they're just not well-rounded. Their information comes from a screen, which means they're easily manipulated, and they're incapable of performing at jobs. So you've kind of killed that on one side. Then you killed the culture with corporations like Disney because of the NGOs that were empowered to go in and do all these trainings that you're talking about. And if you've ever seen somebody suggest that to a business owner that knows what it's all about, they reject it in mass. I've been to conferences where people that were in the field that I retired from just actively push this stuff off because they've seen the effects of the dumbing down of the workforce. They've had to work around that. And oftentimes there are older people now in jobs they normally wouldn't be. It's cheaper for corporations to have younger people, for sure. They hire them in to save money, but corporations now are locked out of that as even an option. So it's anytime I brought a kid in to the company, that kid was 99% of the time fairly useless. And I'm not insulting anybody in the audience. I'm just saying that the level of depth is absent in these younger folks, and it's hurt across the board. And I always feel like this was part of an active effort from multiple fronts to
trying to basically shape culture throughout the world, throughout society. Absolutely. Culture's a casino. Your name, you understand culture, man. This is exactly what they were trying to do this entire time. I have no doubts in my mind about it. When you start seeing all of these grand plans, the World Economic Forum and everything that's going on there, you start to put the pieces together and you can see, okay, there's more. This is by design. This is not accidental. Everything that came out of the 2020 Summer of Love and everything since then, this is all based on design. They saw a situation, they took advantage of it, and they tried to get, and they used something that supposedly sounded great. Hey, diversity, equity, inclusion. This is all about bringing people together, but all it's done is divide people, and based on immutable characteristics. Yeah, it's, you already know how I feel about it, but yeah, it's just it's terrible. It's absolutely terrible.
Let me get Vash in. I want to make this quick comment. Quick comment is, it's also the problem with DEI is it has the false assumption that if left to our own devices, that people of pale skin, and particularly male pale skin people, would rise to the top nonstop forever. And I look across a variety of domains, and I just don't think that's true. I think that inherently people of all backgrounds have tremendous talents, And when given a fair shot, we'll see a kaleidoscope of humanity in every single industry. Vash, go ahead.
Facts.
And this is why, by the way, this kind of cultural phenomenon, if it were, as so phrased, that culture in DA and you, Pro, so eloquently laid out. This is why the youth of the nation voted in large numbers for the other side in a way that we haven't particularly seen in elections past. Because guess what? Their economic prospects have been dimmed. Educational opportunities have been dimmed. And the one reprieve that many people got were from entertainment outlets and were from their, video games and so forth, movies. And then when you saw those be taken over and reject in many cases their main audience, well, now where do those people go? And so I think that's also what was influencing a lot of that decision making by voters right there during this 2025 election or 2024 election cycle. That without those economic opportunities, with that changing culture, with all these things happening, I think people want to go in the other direction. This is why I think people are going to be supportive of the FCC going after these corporations and companies who have been locking out many people who feel aggrieved.
All right, well, folks, if we are all clear on this topic, we'll continue moving right along because there's so much to say about so much happening today. And we will definitely keep an eye on the FCC investigation as well as what happens with CBS. But all across entertainment, things are shaking and baking, and the government seems to not be taking the excuses anymore. All right, Jonas, it is Super Chat time. Let's get to them, and we'll get the people up on the screen.
All righty. Albertus Magnus for 199. DEI, discrimination, exclusion, and intolerance. Yep. If you write a book called How to Be an Anti-Racist, guess what? The solution is just racism that they like.
More racism. Better racism.
And bottom line, folks, treat everybody you come across as kindly and as in a dignified manner as you possibly can. The better you treat people, the better they will want to be around you.
And don't let people who pretend to be professors use circular definitions. Anyways. Michael Fang, Captain 64 for $5. Princess Mononoke's re-release in IMAX last night. I attended, had a full house. Snow White Remake Theater next door had no one. That's as it should be because Mononoke is beautiful. It is an amazing film. Let's see. Proud Dad 2010 for $4.99. Chickens are coming home to roost for D.E. Isney.
Well said.
Yep. Ukarella and Napping Natalie for $1.99. Michelle, don't you work during the day?
I do.
We carve out special time. It's not easy to get Michelle, and that's why we're so appreciative when she's able to stop by.
Man, that lends itself to a joke, but I'm going to stop.
Packing Protons for $2. On X, they seem to think the Ray movie got removed. We've been having a little discussion about this behind the scenes. We've seen no confirmation from Disney that the movie is off the schedule. I don't think it is on the schedule officially yet, is it?
As far as we know, it's indefinitely on hold and has been since November.
Yeah. I don't think they even have a script at this point. So removed, it would be, I think this is a meme that got out of hand recently. I'll say that. JR for $10. There was a study out there that found that DEI practices only help about approximately 4% of people of color and 76% white women. Especially, it really only helps Karens feel better about themselves. Really, that's what it comes down to. Is it puts a chilling effect on everybody and creates resentment in the workplace on both sides of the issue. It's one of those things where if you're not allowed to make fun of something, you're not allowed to poke fun at something, you have a different issue that you've created in the workplace. It's really something that comes up a lot in corporate culture, more than HR would think it does. So.
This is the most insidious part of DEI, I believe, is that liberal women, they receive the biggest benefits by far. And they get to attach themselves to people who have historically been ill-treated. And these liberal women then, they receive all the benefits of being in that group, as well as feeling as virtuous saviors to some degree. And the only demographic that is decreased is pasty men. And but the reality is that when you start dividing people into tribes and then making assumptions about them and rewarding them or punishing them simply based on the tribe in which they were born, according to how you subscribe to see the world, all that does is divide people, separate people, and makes them less able to work as a cohesive unit together. It's not good. It doesn't build bridges. It separates apart. And the better thing is to look at the heart of each individual.
Culture, I'm going to talk since you're muted at this moment. When I was in a corporate environment, we were actually having discussions. The CEO of our company came out, and this is a Fortune 500 company, came out and said that we all needed to be examining our prejudices. And by the way, it was a white CEO. Imagine that. Wanted us all to read White Fragility, How to Be an Anti-Racist, books like that. And we were having discussions behind the scenes about what we were going to do if they tried to get everyone to say, as part of a training, that they had racism in their, like implicit bias training, which basically says you all have to admit to being racist in order to get out of that training. So this is something that is invidious, to use a word that is popular today. So, culture.
Yes, I was going to say it's always been true. It'll always be true. Judge people by their actions, not by how they look. It's the most important thing. And it's honestly why going to a meetup event and getting a chance to talk with, the people that are in your sphere and everything else is such a joy, is because you get to meet some of these people who are otherwise just a screen name. And it's the biggest coming together ever. It's why when you're trying to negotiate something or maybe meeting somebody for the first time, try to have a meal. The most disarming thing of all is having a meal with somebody, because you get to understand them more completely through something like that, because you're being social during something you're sharing together. Sharing and togetherness in that particular instance is something that brings you together more completely, and you understand somebody's point of view, and maybe you get some background on them as to why they are the way they are. That's why I like eating with everybody,
especially if it's bad sushi, right? Siani Reese for $10. My son asked to go to a working man with his girlfriend instead of Snow White and Captain America. 2 14-year-olds want to watch an action movie over woke nonsense. That's awesome.
That's America.
Yep. Deborah says for $10, happy birthday.
Well, fantastic to see Deborah out there. Thank you so much, Deborah. It's a radiant day today when Deborah stops by to say happy birthday.
Indeed.
Sandra Woodley for $10. This is my favorite. I am an old blind grandma, so y'all are in my hip pocket while I am trying to clean the house. Y'all make my day a little brighter. Love you. Well, Sandra, love you too.
I'm going to disagree, though, with Sandra. In her hip pocket right now. Sandra, listen to your pocket. You're not old. You're an icon. And I hope that you're getting lots of people seeking you out for the wisdom that I know you hold. Not just in your pocket, but in your heart and mind. All right, folks, we have hit the goal, and that means we're going to give you one of the rarest Wilton clips ever seen on the channel, and I need to tell you why. There was a very interesting thing that happened where we were getting ready when we were about to hit the 100K mark here on the channel, and we were at like 90K or something, and so I reached out, and we tried to get the Wilton thing ready to go, and we thought we were going to run this for a month or two. And then all of a sudden, a video went viral like crazy, and very rapidly, we hit the 100K. And I don't say that to be braggadocious in any way. I say that because as a result, poor Steve over at Floral from Under a Rock put all this work into this clip, and we only played it for like 5 days, and then it was gone away. And so, folks, here it is, one of the rarest Wilton clips ever. Enjoy.
Too small. Too small. Hey, Floral! Quick question. How wide is the average human being in North America?
I don't know. Why?
Well, I'm trying to buy a cannon to shoot Jonas out of for WDW Pro's 100K celebration.
Well, I guess the first line of defense here is reminding you, Pro hasn't hit 100K yet. And also, we can't afford a cannon.
Well, don't worry about the money. Pro will cover it. After all, he's a huge YouTuber now.
Oh, no. need to call Jonas and let him know to lock down all the pros' accounts. Ugh.
Oh, and remind him, he's gonna need the helmet for the 100K celebration. And maybe some shoulder pads. Nope. What do you mean you don't feel safe climbing in there to look around? How did you get this? America, baby.
All right. So there you go, folks. And we want to say a special note of appreciation to Steve and Floral from Under a Rock. Yes, it's fun when Wilton is rocking Jonas or Lauren or whatever he's up to, but there's a lot of work that goes into making those behind the scenes, and we surely do thank Steve and Floral so much. All right, let's get to the next story, and it is one that will have major repercussions all throughout the entertainment industry, but it's not the typical kind of thing that we cover here. Going to Politico, funded perhaps by USAID. Well, they say no more, but we'll remind them of it. It says, can RFK Jr. ban Pharma TV ads? It's by David Lim and Lauren Gardner. Here's the article. It says, if you believed everything you read on social media, you'd think HHS Secretary RFK Jr. had issued a sweeping proclamation Monday morning to ban prescription drug advertising on TV. That was the chatter on social media platform X from a prominent retail trader account, prompting Prescription Plus sources to reach out and wonder what they were missing. Turns out it wasn't much. The social chatter you're hearing that HHS banned pharmaceutical advertising is not accurate. HHS spokesperson Andrew Nixon told us. However, Politico wonders, is it plausible, considering Kennedy vowed to institute such a ban on day one when running for president and touted his desire to do something similar while stumping for now President Donald Trump? The notion that he'd done so wasn't surprising. Kennedy has linked the ubiquitous commercials to high U.S. spending on prescription drugs compared to other countries. It goes on to talk about whether or not he has the power to do so, but folks, people are beginning to say now that it's going to happen. It's coming. It's on its way. We'll see what happens there. It may require legislation, but it looks more and more likely. Now, why would Politico want to throw cold water on this? And why are the entertainment companies behind the scenes also lobbying to keep this stuff? Well, get ready, because here we've got the data. Coming to you from eMarketer. It's an article by Rajiv Leventhal, and it says, pharma companies increase ad spending on linear TV despite declining viewership on the platform. There is something very fascinating going on here. Listen closely to this one. Pharma companies are increasing their advertising presence on linear TV, according to a recent report from iSpot.tv. The report analyzed pharma ads on linear TV from January through August of this year. The top line findings on pharma's traditional TV ad spending. Pharma ads poured around $3.4 billion in linear TV during the first 8 months of 2024. It's an 8.1% year-over-year increase at the same time that linear TV is in decline. Drug ads generated 54.2 billion household TV ad impressions, a 4.2% year-over-year increase. Pay attention here. Nearly half of household TV ad impressions for prescription drug brands were split between ABC, CBS, CNN, Fox News, ION, MSNBC, and NBC. In other words, the networks and essentially cable news. ABC World News Tonight held the largest share of ad impressions. It was followed by other news shows such as Good Morning America and NBC Nightly News. I'm here to tell you, too, late night TV, surprisingly, has a significant number of ads sponsored by these companies. Now, here's the deal. We can all say to ourselves that Big Pharma should not be advertising on TV because you can't buy these things unless someone allows you to do so. And probably most people are not qualified seeing the ad to want it. There's a difference in if Coca-Cola tells you to get what they sell versus Pepsi, you can go do that. When a medicine is offered to you, you don't have the capacity to get the medicine because it's the doctor's decision. And yet they advertise, and people say to themselves, well, why? Why do they advertise if they're advertising to people who can't buy the thing? What if it's influence? And as we look at that number again, what if it's just on linear TV just for 8 months? $3.4 billion of influence. It's something to think about. Panel, those who own networks and linear TV are freaking out at the idea that billions and billions and billions of dollars could go away like a Thanos snap. And I think there's about to be a battle against RFK and maybe conservatives to prevent this from going the way that these companies don't want. They need the drug money. What say you?
Yeah, they definitely need the drug money. That's for sure. Wait, hang on. I'm getting a report here. Yes, breaking judge just orders that RFK can't do what he's about to do. So that's going to be how that goes. But look, I mean, the amount of influence there, Pro, I think is absolutely significant. And look, we have regulations regarding advertisements related to alcohol, related to cigarettes, related to all kinds of things. I think firearms as well. And so I don't think it's necessarily out of the realm of the executive branch to regulate what actually goes on public airwaves. I think it's well within their power to do what they they deem fit or deem necessary for the American public. And look, I think some chatters have said too that the FTC and the FCC will likely have to be involved. I think that's true, but this is a cabinet that looks like that they're going to do something about this particular aspect, and I think they're going to get their way given the precedent when it comes to the public airways.
Well, let me present an idea to the panel and see what you think about this. There is the possibility that a paradigm exists in which the government gave money, especially during the pandemic, to these pharmaceutical companies. The pharmaceutical companies were given a massive influx of capital. They are investing that capital into TV shows related to the news. And it seems to me that that might be in order to have influence over politicians. Like, that's how I see this. I see this as a possibility. And it's why the networks might be terrified of losing the billions, but the drug companies might be terrified of the idea that they're going to lose influence over the politicians and over consumers by losing the ability to do this. But I don't see any positive. For me, at least, I don't see any actual transactional positive to having these commercials on TV. I don't see a societal benefit. Am I wrong about this?
No. In fact, and I technically, though I'm in marketing, work in the medical industry. I think it's weird that they're advertising drugs on TV anyways, because the route that people should take is, if there's something wrong with you, you need to go discuss this with an actual doctor who has gone to school, who has that's why they're a doctor, an MD. They're a doctor of medicine. You need to go discuss these things with a doctor. Maybe we want a second opinion, but the doctor themselves is going to be the one who has actually looked in and really studied these medicines, and you need to be willing to let them and they might play around with you. That's what doctors do. It's called a medical practice for a reason. Sometimes they have to see what fits for each person, but for me, it just feels backwards that you're advertising a drug when really they just need to go consult with a medical doctor.
Well, and see about this, Michelle. I don't have any problem in the world with the companies going to the doctors themselves to advertise these things.
Yes, absolutely. That's how they learn about it.
Right, and the doctor's the one who can decide whether or not it goes to the consumer.
Yes.
But why in the world? And can you imagine, the change in the way that doctors have to interact now with their patients versus 10 years ago? I love the idea of people going and doing their own research so they can talk to their doctor about it. I think that's phenomenal. But the idea that somebody's sitting there one night and watches one of these ads where half of it is listing out the side effects and the last one is that your body might explode, and then the patient goes in and says, "Hey, I heard about whatever it is," and the doctor's like, "You don't even have that condition." "Yeah, but the people on it were real happy playing volleyball." It's crazy, and it's supporting some of these shows that have no viewership. Go ahead, Derek.
Well, I'm just they're showing this on news. People are already kind of nervous about what's going on in the world. So it's all in these news programs and everybody's kind of nervous. What's happening in the world? I don't understand things any longer, and I haven't been feeling well lately. And, maybe something in the news is talking about, health crises all over the world. And then you get this ad right after. We'll be right back, folks. And then you get this ad, basically outlining every problem that you have. It's like, it seems like it's supposed to play to a specific kind of overly concerned demographic of our population. It's like, hey, talk to those guys. They're already watching the news. They're already nervous about life. They're hooked on it. And we all should watch the news. I think that's important. But it's just interesting how they, targeted a specific, what did you say, 48% of these ads are specifically at news programs. I found that interesting. That's very, very interesting. That's the demographic they want to target, people that are watching the news, because they know they're already concerned. They're more concerned than the average person.
Anxiety medication. Go ahead, Culture.
Yeah.
Culture, unmute.
It keeps doing that automatically. It's not me.
I'm convinced you have a cat. I'm convinced there's an invisible cat that keeps
an
stepping on your
invisible one.
drive.
Yeah, indeed. No, but they're an older demographic. They're the last people to cut the cord. They're older. They're more prone to health problems. When you see the fact that overall global advertising spend on television, especially in the United States, so let's refine it just down to the United States, has been falling precipitously. Warner Brothers Discovery, just last year when they reported some numbers, they were down 13% in commercial ad revenue. When you start to look at that, where's the money? The money hasn't changed. We've elevated over $1 trillion a year in advertising spend. That's across all things, but all that money's moving over to digital platforms like, YouTube. And as YouTube starts to gobble up even more of the percentage of viewership and steal market share from every other kind of streaming, I would imagine YouTube's going to be a nice, healthy place to be. The moment they pull the pharmaceutical advertising numbers, however, you're going to start to see significant shifts in what any of these existing outlets are going to do. That's one of the reasons why, and you brought it up, DA, perfect timing, why I see Comcast kicking MSNBC to the curb. It's why I see them maybe getting rid of CNN over at Warner Brothers. It's why I'm starting to feel like all of these people are paying attention and realize the news business is not going to be as profitable, because if they stop doing pharmaceutical ads, that'll be catastrophic for them, because as you pointed out, 40, 50, 60% of everything you see on a news program is in pharmaceutical ad. So, if they aren't getting that 40, 50, 60% of revenue, that's not a good business to be in anymore, considering that it is a low return as it is right now. That's a problem.
It's a loss leader, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely. And, frankly, I'm sick and tired of these things. I would like for them to go away, because it's always somebody doing something happy with a group of other people in a heavy filter. And for 10 seconds, they tell you about, what the thing is, but they don't tell you what it treats. And then you get the 45 seconds of telling you all the crazy symptoms that could cause your bowels to suddenly release uncontrollably. It's like, ask your doctor if Humarexa is right for you. Possible side effects may include spontaneous British accent syndrome, excessive tap dancing, temporary invisibility, unplanned yodeling, extreme craving for pickles, and your bowels may explode. Like, enough of it, folks.
I don't know.
Get off the TVs.
You were kind of selling me on this until the last one.
Yeah. Well, and what I love about the commercials, and death is always at the end. And it's not said with anything but glee. It's like, okay, and death.
Put the side effects on Diet Coke and see how well that one goes.
I want a drug that the side effect is dreams narrated by Morgan Freeman. That's what.
Wait a minute, Jonas. You just woke me up to something.
Well, that's a side effect of having a conversation with me.
Are you getting paid by Big Soda? Are you one of those influencers that got bought by Big Soda?
You know what I'm getting paid by right now? I've been on a search for like sodas that have legible ingredients in it, and I started drinking one called Poppy. P-O-P-P-I.
I witnessed that.
And unfortunately, they've just been bought by Pepsi, so I have no hope for that brand anymore.
Yes, but it's because of the intestinal benefits of Poppy.
Well, it's also worrisome.
Apple cider vinegar.
It's also worrisome that Poppy is exported by Afghanistan, but that's another topic for another day. Folks, tune in next week for.
You really don't want to drop that can on the floor.
Poppy.
Oh my gosh! Tune in next week for Colagate. We'll be here. Jonas, let's get the super chats up on the screen, and
Protons.
We've only got time for about 5 right now, and then we've got to hit the next topic with Michelle.
Yep. Radial Drago for £2. Hear ye, judge me by my supper chat.
Supper time, baby.
Yep. Fat Steven JFG gifted 5 WDW Pro memberships.
Thank you, Steven. Folks, get over there and watch Steven's gaming channel, all of his live streams. Steven is the artist behind nearly every single piece of artistic effort here on the channel, as well as much of the stuff on Valiant Renegade. The best YouTube artist online, no doubt about it.
Agreed. Ken Reihard for $2. New Placeblex. We think it works. So will you. I get it.
That's clever.
Yeah. Clank. I'm a tank for $5. WV. I'm going to say West Virginia just banned artificial food dyes.
Yep.
They did.
It's probably good. Girth the Cinephile for $1.99. I think we all need prescriptions after Snow White. No. It put me right to sleep. It was very helpful.
Yeah, wow. You were laughing.
I was laughing. I'm joke. It's a joke.
It's a joke, man. Come on. It's a joke. Yep. All right. Are we ready to hit the next story?
We are ready.
All right, folks, here we go. It is, I believe, let me double check on this one. We've got an exclusive after this one, but this one is a big deal because, as we said before, actions speak louder than words. Well, this is definitely action, and it's definitely what you should pay attention to. Ahead of Epic Universe opening this summer, you have heard over and over that Disney is not scared. They're not scared, not a bit. You've heard Disney say that it's going to be good for them. A rising tide, baby, right in the middle of Orlando. Well, here we go. It doesn't look like they believe it, not for a minute. Here's what we've got from Eva Chen. It says it's going to cost less to take your kids to Disney World this summer. It's going to cost a lot less, and this is just the beginning, not the end of it. Walt Disney World is offering 50% off children's tickets this summer. Let me say it again. For those of you who thought Disney was telling the truth when they said, oh, Epic Universe, we love it. It's going to be great for us. Have you ever seen in your lives Disney World discount tickets in the summer, in the middle of vacation time? 50%. Come on. As Balky would say, get out of here. Walt Disney World is offering 50% off children's tickets this summer. This is a first of its kind, you better believe it, offer. For 3 days or longer, Chelsea Philly, Vice President, Customer Experience and Commercial Strategy, said Tuesday during a panel with fellow Disney World leaders and journalists. We want to make that why, how so easy that it is just a no-brainer to come to visit this summer. I'm going to tell you, this 3-day thing, what is it about? It's about protecting them from Universal Studios. The Florida resort is also offering family-focused activities, new entertainment, and deals to guests of all ages. There are more discounts. Beyond the kids, and I'm not sure if it's here it is. Disney World is also offering a specially priced 3-day, 3-park ticket for Epcot, Hollywood Studios, and Animal Kingdom, not Magic Kingdom. These special tickets, well, they just so happen to be about the same time as the half price for kids. April 6th through September 22nd. So essentially the entire spring and summer, you can go to the non-Magic Kingdom parks for far less than $100 per day. So long as you'll stay 3 days. And it keeps going and going. Over at Disney Tourist Blog, Tom Bricker has this one. Up to 35% off Disney World, Florida, and AP Resort discounts for summer to Christmas of 2025. More than 1/3 of the price out of going to stay at a hotel at Disney World. I'm telling you all right now, actions speak louder than words. This is a company absolutely terrified now of Epic Universe. Vash, let me go to you first on thoughts on this one. I've never seen Disney act this way. I'm not even sure that they can sustain this to discount tickets for kids in the prime time of vacation time by 50%.
This is an enormous move for sure, because this is their prime property in Walt Disney World, and they're doing it, like you said, during the summertime. We've seen 50% off kids deals for the last 2 years at Disneyland Resort, but that was always on kind of the off season right there. To do it at your flagship resort location like this, with Epic Universe opening up just across the way, I mean, that's a big signal. If they're wanting everybody to as many people as possible to come over to a Walt Disney World, and I don't know if they're necessarily going to get that because the entertainment offerings just simply haven't been there. Also, too, free dining plan. for let's see, non-discounted 4-night, 4-day or longer package that includes a room at select Disney resort hotels and a ticket with a park hopper option. So you can get dining included with your stay if you go through that specific process right there. Magic Kingdom being omitted from that 3-day, 3-park ticket is also very interesting. I think they feel that everybody will be visiting Magic Kingdom at least if they do go to Walt Disney World, but maybe not the other parks. We have speculated in the past that we would likely see attrition in those specific parks, like Animal Kingdom, for example, and it looks like they're responding to that as well. So, rising tide lifts all boats? I don't know. It appears more like Disney, like it's competitive when there's competition afoot.
Vash, is Universal Studios doing any of this? Is Universal Studios discounting at all?
Yes. Actually, I'm going to interrupt here because I've got some that Universal Studios always offers discounts on some level. It's kind of amazing. Actually, I'm about to book my trip to Universal for this year. It doesn't have Epic on it, but right now I'm looking at less than $45 a day for the people that I'm going with here. So, Universal builds in discounts into their pricing structure here. They'll let you into the park. They won't advertise it, day one. They'll have something that is pretty much a similar price to Disney, but the more days that you add, that price drop off is precipitous.
But we're not seeing anything, Jonas, like a 50% decrease in ticket prices.
Well, no, not advertised like this. And
I'm not saying it to be negative. I'm not trying to be negative.
No, I'm just pointing out, and it's definitely not for Epic. So I'll say that.
Right. Epic is not being discounted nearly at all.
By the way, Montana Ross, who is listed here, we pulled this up. I'm discovering that Montana Ross may be a TripAdvisor or vacation planner. We're not affiliated, and Montana, you're welcome. You're welcome. That's some advertising right there. Derek, Michelle, hop in here. Your thoughts on the idea that Disney is discounting ahead of the summer after they told us everything's fine, everything's dandy. Capacity is the problem. We just don't have enough capacity. And now they're discounting by half those of a smaller stature within our families.
I'm glad. Good. Yeah, it's been hot. Disney is expensive, man. It's expensive to go to Disneyland. So a little competition, great. More of this is needed. Look, I'm on the West Coast, all right? I haven't been to Disneyland in years. So I would love for some of that to kind of trickle this way, but unfortunately, we don't have an Epic universe competing directly with Disney over here. If we did, they'd probably be discounting those tickets. So yeah, it's just, they're discounting out there in Florida and at Orlando because the competition is heavy. They got to get bodies into the parks. So yeah, you got to drop the prices. So I'm happy to see that. That's great. I wish they would do that across the board because Disney has gotten way too expensive for me to be able to go with my family. So yeah, I love it. I think it's a good. I think it's a good thing.
Yeah,
but for them to try to pretend, everything is fine, and it's not about Epic Universe. Yeah, that's a load of malarkey. Yeah.
Derek, the other problem is, if I'm not mistaken, over at Disneyland, you don't have Beverly. You need to come over here to Walt Disney World with us, and it's the greatest drink in the world. You got to come try this. It's Beverly. You're gonna love it.
And here's the thing about that, DA. There are discounts going on over there at Disneyland Resort as well.
How do they compare, Vash?
Steep discounts.
How do they compare? Do you have that?
I do. Let me go ahead and see if I can bring it up on screen right now here. Here you go. We have, for the 70th anniversary, by the way, tickets valid through May 16th through August 14th. 3-day tickets as low as $120 per day. 4-day tickets as low as $100 per day. Tickets can be used on non-consecutive days, on sale starting March 11th.
But you don't get Beverly.
No. you don't get Beverly. No.
It's up there with Butterbeer.
But again, though, this is for their 70th anniversary, and apparently they're going to be having a lot of special limited time offerings just for this event right here. We know that Small World's going to be changed out a little bit. The Walt Disney Animatronic is loaded in there, even with all these entertainment offerings, and with no competition, let's say, from an Epic Universe opening across the way, they're still discounting pretty deeply. So I don't know. They might cite Epic Universe as the reason why there's some cannibalization in this sector for them, but not when you discount both resorts as heavily as you do.
Well, look, that's good because again, I didn't know about this, but it has been like trouble to get into Disneyland. It's very expensive. It's been expensive for years. to the point where if you take a family of 4, I think it was somewhere in the neighborhood of like $1,000 just to get in the door before you buy anything. It was really, really bad for a while. So I'm glad to see that they are dropping the prices. That's a good thing. Again, competition, it actually absolutely helps everybody.
Michelle, let's talk about public perception of going to Disney World, because I bet when you were a kid, I bet it was the same as me. You know, like if somebody was going to Disney World, it was a big deal. It was exciting. Everybody wanted to go. You had the NFL commercials. I'm going to Disney World, like all of that. It doesn't feel to me today, but I'm not a kid, so I can't say for sure. It doesn't feel to me today like people are longing to be there. I don't know if it's because with the advent of social media, you can literally be there. You can watch people live stream it. I don't know exactly what's caused it, but do you get the sense that Disney and going to Disney is the same today, or has it been lessened since we were younger?
It's probably been lessened in a sense, and I would say some of that is kids today have so much distracting entertainment like at their fingertips, more so than even I did as a kid, that they just kind of don't care as much. But then another kicker is I think a lot of us got excited as a kid because our parents got us excited to take us to Disney. And are the parents excited to take their kids to Disney at this point? You know, looking at those prices, I think it's very good. They're cutting the price because, as DA said, it's really gone to the point. I don't know how most families in America take their family to Disney. It is so expensive, not only just to stay, but just to get into the park itself. And if you look at Disney, it's almost like, okay, you pay how much money for a family of 4, and you wait around in the frickin' heat of Orlando during the summer to maybe get to ride like 8 rides all day because of how long you have to wait. Like it's not particularly fun. And it's like, I think they definitely needed to lower the cost because yes, we've had political change. And I think, I'm hopeful that things can get better, but Disney also has to be aware that the economy is not great right now. And I don't foresee that really changing necessarily in the summertime. People are having to hold on to their money because it's a shaky economy.
Oh yeah,
absolutely. Culture, your thoughts on Disney and these price cuts? I mean, these are huge. Is it enough? Is it enough to stop Epic Universe from dominating over the next 18 months?
No, by the end of these 18 months, and I would say even a year, we're going to find out that they've lost 30% market share in Florida alone. I think that the national opinion of them, or at least for most Americans, is going lower every day. I would imagine their unfavorables, if they were a political candidate, would rival the current blue party in this country. As far as Disney's efforts to combat that, these are exactly the same measures they take when they're in the worst kind of trouble. They try to obfuscate by telling us that they need capacity. Well, you don't discount, as Jonas would point out, to that end. So will it help? Sure. I mean, it'll help. It'll be temporary, but it's not going to generate as much profitable revenue as they would like to have. They want to continue to sell the upcharge tickets for each ride through that, whatever they're calling it, lightning lane, garbage tasticness. I don't know, but that really has been a boon for them. But it's also consumer manipulation, and I think that as we look at people's results from leaving the park, Disney's not getting 5 stars anymore. And people, it's not become the rite of passage for all the reasons that Michelle outlined. So I feel like everybody on this panel is kind of, hit on all of the issues, with the exception of Disney's reputation is suffering continually, whether it be, employing predators in the parks or other things like that. They don't know how to manage their press. They don't know how to operate their company. They don't know how to repair their rides or even paint them. The standard for Disney has fallen so precipitously over the course of the last decade that it's not on the up. What's on the up is Comcast Universal Parks, and they're developing them with more frequency and in many other places. When they drop their new kid-oriented park in the center of the country, which will make it more accessible to more people, then they will have a time to shine. They'll also be in the heart of designing more youthful designed attractions to bring in younger people that they can bring back into their older locations like Florida.
Right, that they can
California.
switch out more often. By the way, we don't even know the price point on that park yet, but I can't imagine they're going to charge anywhere
$50.
near the price
$50.
that they charge at the. And they'll have an ugly hotel to stay at, but the good thing about staying in that hotel is you don't have to see it if you're inside of it.
Hey, I'm going to tell you, Art of Animation, that's ugly. Pop Century, that's ugly. I mean, there's lots of ugly Disney hotels. Nobody talks about those. But you know what? You get to sleep near the parks and use the now extremely limited Disney transportation that has, again, been one of the last value props that they haven't dropped.
Well, folks, we'll watch and see how much of that transportation is needed as Disney is discounting, and trying to stop the flood of guests going to Universal Studios. Will it work? Well, we have our thoughts. We'll hold them and wait and see, and we can't wait to bring you more coverage of Epic Universe. We like it, and we're excited for the people who are going and what Universal is showing all of us. All right, Michelle, I know that you've got to make a run, but it has been so fun having you on the show today. Tell the folks out there about Force of Light Entertainment and what you say regarding how Valiant Renegade can get even more viewers on his streams. Does he need a hot tub? Does he need a hot tub, Michelle?
I don't think he does. I think VR, I think he's doing just fine without the hot tub. The hot tub it could backfire. You know, there's a risk there. So I can't advise him on that one.
I could see him and Mexican Iron Man in a hot tub, you know, only their shoulders showing, just kicking it back and talking to the crowd about, you know, entertainment, finances, and all of that.
The problem with VR is he's always surrounded by so many electronics.
Yeah.
Yes, that's true. Can we please add Nick from Echo Base into this?
There you go.
You might tell me.
Three.
But yeah, you can check my sister and I out at Force of Light Entertainment, where we do movie reactions and reviews. We get to watch a lot of good movies since we react to older ones instead of just watching the crap that we get today. We're almost to 50K, so definitely go check us out and subscribe. But it's always a pleasure to be with you, gentlemen, and I know I will be back soon.
Now, wait a minute, Michelle, before you go, you said you're close to 50K.
I am.
Are we going to have a big party? Is there going to be a big
We are going to have a big party.
All right. I'll let everybody I know they're invited.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, I want to go.
Oh, you're invited. You're all invited.
Nice.
Do you have a hot tub?
I do not have a hot tub.
Only for you, culture. Only for you.
And it's not a party, right?
No, I was just thinking we could conquer all these different individuals in a hot tub in one place.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
All right, folks. Well, get over there and subscribe as fast as you can to Force of Light. And Michelle, we'll see you real soon.
Yeah, see you guys. Have a good rest of your stream.
Later.
Thank you.
Yep. All right, bro. You ready for super chats?
Almost. Let's put Vash right on back where he belongs. And now the super chats are here.
All right, Tennille89 for $2. Woke math is basically just dead. It's true.
And congrats again on the 10th. Oh, here's another 10th super chat.
Yep. Tennille89 for $5. They could pay me to go to Disney World now, and it'd still be too expensive. I remember what it was as recently as a decade ago. Now it's San Francisco.
Well, Epcot at night could be.
Yes. Let's see here. Tennille89 for $2. D-Bud Martin Appreciation Fund. Agreed.
Yes, we love our mods and appreciate what they do out there, and hope the very few who sometimes cause some trubs will remember that being appropriate is what we're trying to aim for. We're big fans of free discourse, but we got to keep it safe for the YouTubes.
Yeah, sometimes we might even agree with some of the things that get moderated out. We're trying to keep it PG in the chat. And to that end, D-Bud Martin for $2 says, Tennille89 Appreciation Fund.
That's it. That's it. It's time for just a flat-out moderator appreciation time. Folks, flood the chat with kudos. The kudos emoji, if you're a member of the channel, as a way of saying thank you to our wrenches out there. Flood it with kudos because we see them, we appreciate them. What they do is so helpful for all of us. Kudos for all of our mods.
Yep. Butterbiscuit 92 for $2. Culture check DMs. New Ubisoft 10-cent news. Oh dear.
I got it.
Has the killing blow finally happened?
No, they did spin 3 things into a subsidiary so that they'll be able to steal them later. They took over 1.16 billion. I think in the currency, I think is the Chinese currency yuan, but it could have been euros. I don't know. But they did take that deal to become part of that particular joint venture subsidiary, which is going to control all the high-end IPs like Far Cry, Assassin's Creed, and Rainbow Six.
It's funny to me that the Chinese currency is called yuan. Yeah. Packing Protons for $5. I didn't think Michelle was against the idea of $500 for bikinis, especially if Valiant wears one in solidarity. I got to tell you, Packing, I think Valiant would be the only one wearing a bikini in that.
Well, okay, I don't really want the little cute, bottoms.
Alberta's Magnus for $4.99. Disney Parks is a house of cards, and there's a wind brewing. Winds in the east, as they say.
Thank you, Albertus, and you've been on fire with those super chats today.
Yeah. Floral from Under a Rock for $2 Canadian. Sorry, $2 Canadian. News breeds fear. Pharma gives solutions. Solutions lead to anger. Anger leads to hatred. Hatred to vaccination. Anyway,
so many solutions.
The power of one. The power of two. The power of many.
Bingo. Daniil 89 for $2. Too many people in hot tub is a fire hazard. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's not the only hazard, but we'll let it be the fire hazard.
We actually got rid of our hot tub because my kids thought it was a pool.
You guys remember the SNL skits? What was it? What was the hotel that Will Ferrell and Rachel, whatever her name is, they would do the skit where they were chat, help us out with that. What was the hot tub skit where they were all the Welshly Arms Hotel? That's what it was. Do you guys remember that? Oh man. Folks, get out there and go view those. They're really, really great. The lovemaking couple in the hot tub who described their lovemaking in
those people.
Oh my. All right. Good memories of that one. That was funny. Back when SNL was funny. All right, folks, let's get to the next story. It's exclusive. Well, hang on a second. We've got to actually, you know what, Jonas? Something just landed. We'll cover that first. Jonas.
Stormweaver for $100 Canadian. WDW Pro and crew hope all is the well with everyone and their families. I think we need Doge to investigate Disney and see where the money went for all the film. All the best to all. Oh man.
They would just love Elon getting involved in their affairs. They would love it. Stormweaver, this one's for you.
No, it can't be.
But it is Stormweaver.
If somebody's going to try to blackmail me with advertising, blackmail me with money, go f*** yourself.
And the Disney stock just keeps going down and down and down. And then Bob Iger is all like, no, what's going on with my stock? No.
Now, commence Operation VacuSuck. Suck.
There you go. Thank you, Stormweaver. Really appreciate it. Thank you for powering the radioactive hamsters. The wheel is flying once more. All right, folks, let's get to this exclusive. And it is, darn it, it's still not doing it. Vash? Oh, I see why. Okay. It's a pro mistake. There we go, folks. All right, take a look at this. It is out of Thrill Data, and we've got some very interesting information when it comes to spring break and how Disney World is doing so far. And it may give us an indication as to why they are willing to discount for the spring and entire summer. Children 50%, hotels by 35%, and drop the price of non-Magic Kingdom theme parks down under $100. Epic Universe is not yet open. Yet take a look at this. For the month of March, the average wait time is 37 minutes. And if you look at these little graphs here for each month, you might say, well, Pro, things are going up. Why would this be a problem? What's wrong? Well, let me show you. March of 2025, the average wait time is 37 minutes. Let's go back to March of 2024, where the wait time on average was 40 minutes. And let's go back, as Chris Berman would say, to March of 2023. Average wait time was 39 minutes. Well, what if we go on back to March of 2022? Average wait time was 46 minutes. Why does that matter? Well, ladies and gentlemen, because we believe that wait times are somewhat correlated to attendance. And we're almost at the very end of March, and this March is the least in terms of wait times of any March since 2021, which, by the way, 2020 and 2021, they don't really count. 2020, it was closed for obvious reasons. And in 21, the lines worked completely differently because they had just reopened and they had plexiglass and stand 6 feet away and all of that. If we were to go into pre-pandemic times, it's way worse. Now, you could say, but Pro. Think, rides have changed and they open Tiana's, right? Maybe that's sucking up all the wait times. And so maybe people are having a better time because they're not waiting in such long lines. To that, we go to WDW Passport. Animal Kingdom right now. Animal Kingdom, let's count the rides. Navi River Journey, 1. Kilimanjaro Safaris, 2. Yeah, I'm not counting a meet and greet below that. Kali River Rapids, 3. Expedition Everest, 4. Dinosaur, 5. And Avatar, 6. Ladies and gentlemen, there are 6 total rides at Animal Kingdom. There are 6 total rides at Animal Kingdom. You're paying hundreds of dollars for 6 rides. Now, that is far less rides than they had at this park years ago. And what that means is that naturally, wait times should go up because there are less rides. So if you have an equal number of people, but you have decreasing number of rides, then the wait time for the rides must go up. Additionally, Disney is also offering these get on anywhere, anytime kind of lightning lane offers, the premium pass, they call it, for their richest guests. That should cause the wait time to also go up for the poor plebes who could barely afford to get through the turnstiles. Yet that's not happening. Let's go to Epcot. I'll show you it's still the same. Epcot, we've got Spaceship Earth 1, Soarin' 2, The Seas with Nemo and Friends 3, Remy's Ratatouille 4, Mission Space, nobody's writing that, 5, we're not counting meet and greets, sorry, Living with the Land 6, Journey into Imagination with Figment, nobody's writing that, 7, Guardians of the Galaxy 8, Grand Fiesta Tour 9, and Frozen Ever After 10. 10 total rides at Epcot. You pay those hundreds of dollars to get in there for 10 total attractions. Now, my understanding is that in the theme park industry, the idea is that people have to ride at least 11 or 12 rides for them to even think they got their money's worth. Even if you say that the average guest is interested in every single ride in Epcot or Animal Kingdom, they can't do that. So
do you remember Pro, just real quickly, I hate to interrupt, but do you remember Pro when they were having the shills try to sell the idea that most people only ride 6 to 8 rides when they visit a theme park?
I remember them trying that. It's not true, but yes, I know. And we know why they were doing that.
Yeah.
But culture, the wait time should be going up, right? I mean, just naturally, you decrease rides, wait time must go up, yet the opposite is happening. I think this is why they're freaking out behind the scenes.
Well, I think for Epcot specifically, Pro, they turned Epcot into a food court. It's a food court and a sample party, and they want you to drink booze because booze is expensive and it makes them money.
It's $200. Listen, it's a booze and dining party that has a $200 cover charge to get in. Yep. With a few rides, they can call it a theme park.
Yeah, and even the tapas plates are unsatisfying for the price you're paying. Who wants to pay $22 for a tapas plate sample of something you'd like to have a full meal of?
I'm not a tapas man.
Internally, that's how the company refers to Epcot, by the way, as like a dining and shopping park, basically. This is why, the front of it is named Celebration, because, they want to be this place where people, celebrate the festival, celebrate, get-togethers, anniversaries, all that, and go to those restaurants that are around World Showcase and do all that. This is why they've shifted focus there, and that's why they did the flex space like Communicore Hall in order to do that, which is super unfortunate. Go ahead.
Well, and they started to push back in 2013 year-over-year double-digit growth in revenue, it's driven all by
Right.
those festivals. So the food revenue, I mean, they were not thrilled. Gosh, when was this? 2018, 2019.
Walls went up.
Yeah, and then they really priced the food to just be exorbitantly high. They were anticipating a 13% growth in the food and beverage that year, even though there was nothing to do there.
You know, this might surprise people, might shock them. I wish Disney World was doing well. I wish that they had announcements that made people happy, because I'm going to cover it one way or the other, just like we're going to cover Epic Universe. And I would have a heck of a lot better time making videos about something exciting they're doing that doesn't destroy something that people love. Now, I'm glad we have Derek on the panel with us, because Derek, you're not oft frequenting Disney World, and that's very handy. Because, right, Derek, what I need to know is it surprising to you at all when you look at this list of attractions at Animal Kingdom and you see, well, there are 6 total rides at a Disney park that charges you hundreds of dollars to get in? I mean, you take a family of 4, including taxes, this is going to get close to $1,000 for 6 rides. Is that surprising, Derek? I mean, did you know this before we start going into these kinds of details?
No. I've never been to Animal Kingdom, so this is all new information to me. Yeah, that's a lot of money for 4 rides, man, or 5 rides. That's ridiculous. That's a ridiculous amount of money to be paying for that. Yeah, I would probably find something else to do. See, I tend to kind of vet my vacations out ahead of time to see, all right, am I going to get enough bang for my buck when I'm taking the family out somewhere? This would be one I would easily bypass based on the price point and the amount of attractions. You can go several places other than, Animal Kingdom and get, in my opinion, and get more for your money. So, yeah.
Well, I mean, according to Bob Iger, though, consumer demand is extremely high. In fact, he said this at the 2025 annual shareholders meeting. So consumer demand for our parks, resorts, products is extremely high, as is the value that we value, in fact, is tremendous, particularly when you compare with other forms of entertainment like sporting events and concerts. So with that in mind, we're also constantly considering and developing and implementing new ways to make the experience that we offer both more enjoyable, sure, but of equal importance, more accessible. We provide several options for families looking to spend less, including our lowest park price ticket at Disneyland, not having changed since before the COVID pandemic. The thing about that is, on those tier 0 days at Disneyland, you ain't getting any of that entertainment. You ain't getting Fantasmic. You're not getting fireworks. You're not getting a whole host of things. And even when you do get those things for those higher price points, well, it pales in comparison to the previous entertainment offerings that you previously got, especially with like shows like Fantasmic, for example. We covered this on That Park Place earlier this morning. All that watercraft, all gone. The fireworks, that cut back on pyro considerably and so forth in order to increase operating income and decrease operating expenditures. So there you go. For Walt Disney World, I think a lot of people are saying, look, it's way too expensive right now. There are discounts in the future, apparently. And also, too, Epic Universe is out there. Why on earth would I plan my 10-year or once-in-a-lifetime vacation to Walt Disney World without Epic Universe having opened as well, so I can visit both places? I think a lot of people are making that adjustment right there. Disney just simply, if they kept up with the cadence of investment that they should have, I think a lot more people would be inclined to see Disney despite what Epic Universe was providing, but they didn't.
Well,
what's funny is that, I'm sorry, go ahead, Culture.
No, please, go.
Well, I was just going to say, I used to go to Disneyland all the time, and just, I had like the annual pass, it's right in my backyard. So I used to go there like 2 or 3 times a week and took the kids. That was back when passes were like $150 for the year. It's like the good old days. Now you can barely get in the park for that amount of money. But it seems like what you're just explaining, Vash, is that they've just been scaling back on a lot of the attractions. It's just not as much fun to, there's not as much to do. They're, we're not going to, the fireworks, the pyrotechnics, we're going to kind of scale those back. And I used to love to see Fantasmic and the whole sky lit up at night. It was awesome. So, when you start hearing things like, hey, Epic Universe is going to open up. Epic Universe is going to have Harry Potter. Epic Universe is going to have Super Mario. Epic Universe is going to have the Universal Monsters. It's like, yeah, that's stuff that I'm interested in. I mean, don't get me wrong. Disney is great, characters from the past, but these are all brand new to a theme park, at least for me. I've never seen, Super Mario Bros. Well, Universal, of course, Harry Potter, like all of these things. How to Train Your Dragon, I think, is also going to be at Epic Universe. There's like a lot of brand new IP that's in these parks that people are more attracted to. Today's kids would be, in my opinion, more interested in that than some of the content that they have at Disney now. So it just seems like it's a no-brainer that Epic Universe is going to probably start dominating down in Orlando for years and years to come until Disney kind of refreshes everything, gets back to some, good IP that people want to go and watch or want to be a part of. That seems to be a big issue right now. And yeah, I'm interested to see where this all heads. I'm gonna be keeping my eye on it because I do want to take a trip out to the Orlando area, and I'll probably be looking at Epic Universe for that.
I think that's how many people feel, and it may be why Disney's freaking out. If spring break crowds are less than they have been in the past, well, summer is in doubt with a new theme park as a competitor on the way. All right, Jonas, we've got some super chats. Let's hit those, and then we get the final story on the way where the media is trying to pit Jenna Ortega against, yes, Rachel Zegler.
Okay. Hawaii Dragon Star for $5. Disney limited alcohol in their parks. Not anymore. The more they try to get rid of Walt and his outdated views, the more they lose money. By the way, gotta say, Walt Disney on record as actually being a pretty big fan of alcohol, but he did not want it in his parks in the public areas. I get it. There was alcohol available in Club 33 that was private and that was not intended for the park itself. So yeah, totally agree with you there.
And based on those reports we saw in the trades a year ago about how things were being run by Bob Iger and the way they treated Chapek and McCartney and all that, I'm going to tell you, folks, I think they should ban alcohol in the C-suite. That would be the best decision for Disney.
Mm-hmm. Stormweaver for $50 Canadian. Bob Iger, the board, Kathleen Kennedy, Kevin Feige, and others need to be investigated and fired for what they have done to the shareholders.
10-4. Yes, absolutely. And it looks like the FCC is going to start getting involved. We'll see how that goes. We'll see how that plays out. But folks, I have no doubt that unless the government or some other major force puts a force against Disney, I don't see any indications that this board or this C-suite is going to move their feet one iota. I don't think they're beholden to anybody other than themselves and trying to get one more yacht. Stormweaver, we appreciate you a lot. Here's your clip once more.
No, it can't be.
But it is Stormweaver.
God dang it, from the bottom of our hearts here on the WDW Pro Channel, thank you.
Cool. Clunk Plank, I'm a Tank for $5. Kings Island is a lot cheaper with tons of ride located just outside Cincinnati, Ohio, or Cedar Point in Sandusky, Ohio.
Yeah, we've been to, we've done Kings Island before. Seen the fireworks over there. Good time. Good time.
Yep. There's also in that area, there's Kentucky Kingdom, and down south of that, there's Dollywood, of course.
And as we're repeatedly on the show mentioned, Jonas is a huge fan of Skyline Chili.
Don't
you do that?
Why would anyone want fast food chili? Yeah, that's a food item that's burning up the charts right there.
But it comes with noodles. All right, folks, we've got oodles and oodles of fun with this final story. Get ready. You're going to love how the media is trying to spin who's going to lose, win, and won when it comes to the box office. All right, here we go. It's out of Deadline. Anthony D'Alessandro. We call him Antoine. Way back we go. I mean, I remember the days of him, me, and Corn Pop. Snow White and all her controversy to trip Jenna Ortega's unicorn, Jason Statham's Working Man, and more. Box office preview. Statham, I believe. Sorry. Here we go, folks. More drudgery at the spring break box office. 5 wide releases are going this weekend in 1,000 plus theaters. None of them will be able to put Disney's embattled Snow White to sleep. You see how this is being played? It's a winner. It's not a wiener. With the live action take on the Disney 1937 tune doing hopefully around $20 million in weekend 2, which would be a 53% drop. Now, why is a trade coming out and saying hopefully what it will do when they could go to the statistics? Wouldn't you know it? We have those statistics. We'll show you in just a moment. The princess who connects with birds and Bambis will have a hold that's on par to live-action reimaginings of old Disney tunes Maleficent and Cinderella, both of which eased by 48%. Again, I don't know why they think this is true. Every indication to me is that the cinema score is far lower than those films, and the cinema score tends to give us a pretty darn indication of how it's going to do in terms of a hold. Snow White remains the fairest with a mix of IMAX and PLFs. She'll be sharing IMAX with another princess, and how do we pronounce this, guys? Is that Mononoke or
Mononoke?
Mononoke. There's where the accent goes on this lobble. Unless something magical happens for Gina Ortega, Rachel Zegler will have bragging rights. Now let's all just pause for a moment and soak in what Anthony D'Alessandro is putting.
Sorry, what?
Yeah, soak it in, everybody. Everybody soak it. Just really get it in there. Anthony, you have served this up on a silver platter. I'm going to read it one more time, and then I'm just going to lean back in my pro chair here in the studio at Somewhere Sunny USA and say, panel, unleash. Ready? I'm going to read it one more time. Unless something magical happens for poor, terrible, wimpy little Gina Ortega, Rachel Zegler will have bragging rights. Panel. Go ahead.
Jenna Ortega has, when Wednesday comes out, the next season, if it performs like the last 2 seasons, it will be the #1 show in the world whenever it comes out. And okay, I guess we're at the point here where Rachel Zegler has the #1 movie in the world. Congratulations. You are the tallest kid in kindergarten today, to say the nice version of that statement here. What in the world? Also, people want to work with Jenna Ortega. I think the list of people who want to work with Rachel Zegler is shrinking and shrinking, especially people who have the money to fund a production.
Nope. You're wrong, Jonas. Anthony Alessandro says that Jenna Ortega is the loser here and that Rachel Zegler is the winner. She's the winner. She's #1. She's got bragging rights. Can I just say, panel, real quick, so people understand? Death of a Unicorn is essentially made for streaming. It is going to Max. It is going to Amazon. It is going to Apple. That's where it's going to make its spread. It is being put in theaters to get a little extra cash on top. The budget was never released, but A24 keeps budgets teeny tiny for the most part. So this is just, being in the theater is not what it's really all about. That's just the gravy for this thing. It's a streaming piece of media. And so this is how Anthony D'Alessandro is trying to play this, is that Zegler is a bigger star than Jenna Ortega. Give me a break. And by the way, panel, this hope that he has that it's going to be a 53% drop, I don't see any indication of that because the Monday drop was awful. The Monday drop. Yeah. Remember how bad the first weekend was for Snow White? When you have a bad weekend, it makes it awful hard to drop big time because you already dropped it on the first few days. Yet it had a 76% drop from Sunday to Monday. This is not looking good for Anthony nor for Rachel. Guys?
Are you really, is he really trying to compare 300 million, I'm not sure, a movie, right? That's got a very huge IP attached to it, to a kind of almost throwaway A20. And I saw the movie. I've actually already seen Death of a Unicorn. It's
any
okay.
good?
It's okay.
It's a streaming thing. It's a streaming horror movie.
It's very much a streaming movie. It got some comedy in it. It doesn't really land for me. Nevertheless, you're trying to compare that movie that's just kind of here today and gone tomorrow to the 85-year classic character of Snow White and the 300 million plus that Disney threw behind that. That's where you want to make your comparisons? You got to be kidding me, man. This guy is out to lunch. I don't understand why you would even go there to try to compare those two, except for the fact that you already know that Jenna Ortega is the more popular actress. All right. She's the more popular actress right now at this point in her career. Jenna Ortega, man, she puts in work. You guys see how many movies she's made, how many TV shows she's made? She is constantly working. I think Rachel Zegler's been in like 4 or 5 things since her career started.
All flopped.
Flopped. And all of them have flopped. Jenna Ortega has been in multiple great series, Wednesday, obviously, great movies. I mean, there's no comparing the two at all. All right. And people like Jenna Ortega as opposed to Rachel Zegler. Rachel Zegler just has to take the wins where she can get them. So yeah, you're the #1 movie in the world, maybe this weekend as well, who knows. You just got to take them where you can get them, because I think obviously, at this point her movie career is looking like a sinking ship. But that's just too funny to me.
I'm going to tell you, I'm willing to bet that the Unicorn movie probably had a $50 million budget.
No,
versus what we think will be something like a $350 million.
If that, yeah.
But what about the marketing budget? The marketing budget is going to be, probably 10 times in favor of Disney for how much they spent on it. Big ads, big trailers, big everything.
Well, they got the IMAXs and the PLFs. Listen, I saw Death of
4,200 screens versus 3,000.
Little screening. Yeah.
But the apples and oranges comparisons here don't even, you have to consider it's an R-rated movie. Snow White's supposed to be 4 quadrants.
Good
I mean,
point.
I would be surprised if they spent more than 25 million on this Jenna Ortega Death of a Unicorn.
You're just mad, Culture. You're just mad. You're
mad
because you're an Ortega stan and you don't like poor innocent little Zegler.
What? No, I could care less. But all I know is this: in September 19th, when the new season of Wednesday releases, you're going to have viewership that's going to destroy a full-length cinema live-action Disney production. I mean, there are big wins here for anybody that's not Disney, and I'm going to tell you, it's a no-brainer. Death of a Unicorn is going to be more profitable.
Give me a prediction. Culture, give me a prediction. What do you think the drop's going to be for Snow White when we finish this second weekend?
I think Anthony had it at about 53% drop.
Right. He's basing that not on anything current. He's basing that on Cinderella. He thinks it's going to have the same drop as Cinderella.
Wow, that's
we just read it. That's literally what he's basing it on.
Okay, all right. If that's the case, then
I'm looking at the Marvels. I think that's what you got to go by. I don't think it'll have the 81% drop the Marvels had.
I'm going to say I'm going to say somewhere around 64 to 68% fall off.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going
to so low.
I'm going to go crazy. I'm going to say 77% drop.
Wow, that's really high. It did make a lot of money, as you mentioned, during the segment here. It did make a lot of money going into the theaters in the first place. I mean, it came in 10 million under one of the lowest projections I'd seen. So it came in at even under the 43 that they initially reported. It was 42 point change. And I don't know. I mean, if it drops 64 to 67%, somewhere in there, it's going to make like $10 in the theater. I mean, 10 million, but it's going to make, dessert money for Disney in the second frame. I don't think it's going to do well, and I've got a feeling that the Monday fall off after next weekend is going to be more precipitous than even last Monday's fall off. Disney's not playing with good cards right now. They are on full tilt and bluffing every hand.
Folks, I'll tell you this: no matter what happens, Jenna Ortega is not a lesser star than Rachel Zegler, no matter whatever it is that Anthony D'Alessandro over at Deadline is huffing and puffing.
He's mental,
it must be strong. It must be real strong.
I also need to point out that I was very wrong. There's only been one season of Wednesday, and that was my mistake as not being a huge fan of Wednesday. Although I would say it's actually a pretty well put together show.
And you do a really good Wednesday dance, so there is that.
I need to see that dance.
The stories I could tell.
He's a little stiff on the show. I'll say that. Not so in real life.
His posture is enviable.
Jonas, I'm going to get to the bonus.
Posture is enviable. They're going to put that on my tombstone.
Here's the bonus member chats, folks, and these are for members of the channel at level 2 and up. We put these up various times during the month. Here we go. Aurora Uplink says Han Solo was running through the streets of Coruscant chasing the thief. Luke Skywalker was using his own tricks to get ahead of the thief. Meanwhile, Han knew everything depending on catching him, leaping over creative food that had toppled over and blocked the way. Chewie was still back there securing the family, keeping them safe. Whatever holocron was, Luke seemed intent on recovering it after it was taken. Lost excerpt from Tales of the Skywalkers. Would love to see it on the screen. Karen Owen asks, will there be Pro Channel watch-along content if it is live streamed, or a review of the Star Wars Celebration Japan. The 2 panels on the biggest upcoming projects, Mando Movie and Andor series at 9 p.m. Eastern Time on Thursday, April 17th, and Friday, April 18th. Karen, we don't yet have an announcement to make about that. We've got to find out what's going to be going on in terms of copyright issues and how that's going to be playing. But we should have an announcement, hopefully in the first week of April. We will let you know, and we will be there.
I am actually going to Star Wars Celebration in Japan. I'll be there. So if you guys want any out of the panel, commentary and my thoughts or whatever, feel free, hit me up. I'll be happy to lean in any of my commentary at that time. But yeah, I'm going to Celebration in Japan. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be my first trip to Japan. Me and my son are going to be doing this whole anime thing, but I will be going to Celebration during that time. So yeah, if anybody wants to hit me up on anything, just you know where to find me.
Absolutely. Can I specifically ask that if there's a drag panel, I get you to go into that one, maybe ask a couple of questions?
But I'm afraid not.
Make sure to check out Derek Anderson for that content, because he's going to get a huge lift on his channel from doing that. And Derek, I ask that you bring back some sushi from Japan, and you might need to put it on ice, but that would be very nice for me. All right, stuttering guitarist. ESPN is adding a lot of money to the NBA, proposing $2 billion for the NFL, and $2 billion for the NFL, and are losing MLB with broadcast subs lessening and their hub on the way with limited streaming success on ESPN Plus. Are they headed for financial problems? Well, SG, they're already there. ESPN Plus is now bundled together with the Nielsen ratings in order to hide the fact that it was never charting on its own. It's a major problem for Disney, especially when 1/3 of their corporate tripod is sports. Butterbiscuit92 says no sympathy for Zegler or Disney. Disney can go down in flames for all I care now. That not that I'm hoping for it. I'm just over Western entertainment. I pretty much only read manga, manhwa, and manhwa. It's become too difficult for me to separate artists' terrible actions from their artistic works. Butterbiscuit, hope I get the pronunciations right. I don't think I did, but understand completely and totally, and that's why the West is seeking out some of those video game properties to try to find new content they have not yet destroyed. Vixera says, just saw the live action How to Train Your Dragon posters. Astrid looks terrible. And what did they do to Roughnut? Is this just the right hand not talking to the left, given the disparity in quality and appeal to Epic U? Well, you'll notice in Epic U, where it will be there forever, or at least for decades to come, they're doing it the right way. And, well, the movie will come and go. We'll see how it is, whether the box office is positive or slow for it. Jonas, final round of Super Chats before we head on over to Vacation Radio and then the H-Cast.
All righty, let's see here. Bucky Cat gifted 10 WDW Pro memberships. Thank you very much, Bucky Cat.
Bucky Cat, thank you so much.
1.21 gigawatts! 1.21 gigawatts! You're the one who's out of this world, sweet baby. You're the one who's out of this world.
And Bucky Cat, you know how to teach Jonas what a tuxedo looks like.
That's right. Dragon Queen for $5. Jonas, there's only been one season. Get your facts right. Yes, you're totally correct. I was wrong.
That's
correction.
Right.
Clarification. Albertus Magnus for $4.99. Jenna Ortega's career does not need Deadline's endorsement. She is doing fine.
Yeah.
She was in Iron Man 3. Yeah.
All right. Well, folks, that brings us to the end of yet another adventure in live streaming excellence. We're glad that you were here with us. You are the ones who made it excellent the whole way through. It's the big surprise at the end of the movie. The star was always you. But folks, get over there and subscribe to Derek Anderson. Go to That Pod Place. Subscribe to Culture Casino. And wherever you find Jonas, well, you should be there. Folks, we're going to send you on over to Vacation Radio and then to the H-Cast. It is fantastic content coming your way, so don't touch the dial. And folks, on your way out the door, there's even more, because 4 more videos are coming out tomorrow, the next day, and every day in this great 365. Thank you for helping us thrive. We love you. We'll see you. Keep it real. And until the next time.
What are those?
These are my Spider-Man pajamas.
Let me rephrase that. Why are you wearing those?
Because my He-Man pajamas are in the laundry.